right. So, shit. What were we talking about? Racism, power outages, solar flares.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
What was the last thing we were
that.
talking about? Oh, it was COVID over. Or
Oh yeah. Is COVID over? I was looking up some statistics for you. Arizona, 12 states seeing rise in COVID hospitalization.
Have y'all seen anybody who y'all might have thought had COVID, like they were coughing a lot, or because I haven't seen anyone who I was
not
like
close,
you have COVID, or
Not like
you definitely have it.
You got it.
There's something about you coughing.
Auntie Rona got your ass. Nah, since the symptoms are so close to like the flu, I haven't seen anyone that it's been clear enough for me to know like, oh yeah, that's COVID, not the flu, not the allergies, not the cold.
Oh shit! People saying they believe we all like it was a huge spike in like December, January. That like a good portion of people probably had it and didn't realize it, and it just passed basically.
Right.
People at my job have been saying, "Oh, I felt like I had it a while ago. I already got over it."
Yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe that's true. Maybe people did get that, but another possibility for that is that people were primed to do that because that was a theory that I saw. Like, I remember when no one was saying, like, oh, maybe the COVID already was here. And then I remember that kind of picking up speed. I mean, kind of around the time that the first kind of like, I guess, like public, like knowing, like the public's finding out about COVID as that started to calm down and people were just finding out basically what it was. Then the idea of it being there already kind of picked up more speed. And I also feel like it's kind of dropped off a little bit in like how many people are talking about it, but maybe that's just because they're talking about riots and protests and racism and all that now. But I don't know. I feel like people could have been there's always a chance that some people could have did that, and then some people kind of with the like whole placebo effect. You know, it's like if I tell you you got a cure, if I tell you you're going to feel sick, you're going to start feeling that way. You know, for good or bad. Maybe it's not all of them, but
that one headline, it says Arizona is slowly reopening, but hospitals in the state continue to see severely ill COVID-19 patients.
That's what I'm saying. Like half of the working world is considered to be okay, but still another half isn't safe. So like what is that? How does that work? How is it half and half?
Well, because the
Wi-Fi settings.
Yeah, sorry.
Wi-Fi might need to come back on.
It does need to come back on. The mortality rate. I mean, I remember hearing them saying
turn it off and then back on, and then it'll reconnect by itself.
I remember hearing people say that maybe the mortality rate was going to be around 2%. Then maybe like last week I heard someone saying that people had said the mortality rate can get as high as 10%. I personally never heard anyone say that, but look, I mean, 2% of the population doesn't kill everyone. You know, if there's 100 people, 2 of them died. For the most part, visually, everyone's still there. So it's not like you're gonna. I feel like you're gonna like notice this that much. You're going to now the infection rate is different. So you're going to hear about everyone damn near catching it, but you're not going to hear about everyone dying from it. But then you're also going to have like people. I mean, it's going to be hyped up and kind of primed in your attention span. But what happened is that people shut down the economy people shut down businesses, which slowed the economy because 2% is low in the perspective of if you're asking like, will we survive? Will humanity be here? But it's kind of high as far as like economic performance because 2% is low, but it's still high enough for it to set into everyone's mind of like, oh shit, 2% is actually kind of big. I don't want to be the 1% or the 2% chance and be the person who dies. And then also when you have like your higher risk pool, like your elderly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People don't want to know that they're responsible for like their grandpa or like grandma dying or something like that, or their child dying or something like that. So I feel like, I mean, personally, I feel like we reopened certain things too soon, and then certain things probably never should have been closed in the first place. But it's.
I think the protests have a lot to do with us being locked in the house for so long as well.
I agree. I think
that goes.
I think the. Sorry, I'll end with this real quick. To kind of segue into that, I think the protests are more diverse in the reason why the protesters are out there is more diverse than just Black Lives Matter and George. I'm running a blank on his last name.
Floyd.
George Floyd. Thank you.
Floyd.
A lot of people are out there for George Floyd, and I'm not even saying that they're not out there for George Floyd, but I think they're also out there for other reasons. I think the economic uncertainty has a lot to do with it, and then I also think the protests that happened just before these protests, where you saw clear as that, black people are dying in the streets, but then white people get to walk into the city hall, with fully armed
guns, rifles,
fully
and stuff.
armed,
Loaded.
armed to the teeth.
That shit was crazy.
Rocket launchers and stuff.
I'm exercising my freedom of speech, and this isn't a form of intimidation. This is just me exercising my free speech. But it also, if you don't do the thing that I like, then we are going to physically harm you. So I feel like seeing all of that then is all of that is mixed into why a lot of those people are out there. That's my personal.
And it was basically like they figured if they do all this, well, like we was talking about how you just stopped talking about it, and miraculously is gone now supposedly. But like you said, it's not really about the whole COVID thing. It's more of an economic type of thing to try to.
I think that adds into it. It's like it's a bunch of different factors that added into people being frustrated and filling the streets en masse because of that murder. Like the murder was a spark, but the powder was already there, ready to be ignited.
Right.
But that's a perfect segue into my second point, which is another question. Why do you guys think that there's so many videos and so much documented cases of police killing black people or shooting black people who are unarmed or choking them to death, or and why
That's the thing too. It's not that like people were saying. It's not like it's a new thing.
Yeah.
Basically, it is more exposed now because of the internet, and social media, and all that type of stuff.
Camera phones.
And I think they expose it more and more now, so people can actually. People believe, but some people don't really believe until it's in their face, so to speak, type of thing. So you show all this evidence, it's kind of hard to just ignore it now, basically. So now you get all this physical evidence and visual evidence of what's really going on. Is you can't just surpass it, even though they're really trying.
Wait, let me alter my question a little bit. The other day, I was speaking to Spot's parents and my parents at the same time. They were together, and they were saying, Spot's dad asked me what do I think is the cause of the white guy kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes or whatever, and what do I think is the cause of. He said that he was at a rally where there was a cop, a big giant black cop, and he was crying because some of the protesters were yelling at him and cussing at him and calling him all type of names and saying he should die and shit like that.
They were yelling at the big black guy, or they were yelling
at the cop. Not, but his dad is a preacher, so that's why he was there. Context. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? What's the source of people acting like that, of
that individual guy?
The cop?
No, I mean you know, just people being like, "You're a cop, fuck you," or "You're," you know, or the cops being like, "You're a criminal," or "You're, you know, you're not a citizen to me, you're a criminal." That, which is what it seems like to me when you shoot a black guy in the back when he's running away from you or whatever, you know.
Oh, I mean, I guess I don't know. For me, it's not really like a simple thing as far as like where's the source coming from, because I feel like there's a bunch of different influences on where the cops coming from, where the person who's getting knelt on is from, you know, where black people are coming from, where white people come from. I guess in a lot of ways, it like I kind of getting back into like Marx and the whole like structure and superstructure. What's the economic class struggle that's going on there? What's the racial class struggle? What's the gender class struggle? And like how do each people kind of be affected by that? I mean, like it's, to be honest with you, I haven't watched the entirety of the video. It's like
I should have asked that first. Have y'all seen the video? Have you seen the video?
Of him getting kneed on his neck. Yeah.
You haven't seen it?
No, I've seen part of it. It's just, to be honest with you, it's just kind of tough for me to watch. I also kind of don't feel like it's really that is tougher as it is for me to watch it right now. I kind of feel like it's not that necessary. Like I can, for the most part, take other people's words is what was going on,
and still
just
understand it.
Yeah, just like starting off, like seeing where it was going, like because
I saw it before the outrage.
Right.
I saw the video. And I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "He's dying!" Like,
yeah, same here. The video came, you know, to my attention before the outrage, but like it's clear in the title, like what like cop kneels on guy until he dies, you know, and it's a long video, and it's like for me it's kind of tough to watch just because it's like it goes on for so long, and then just to hear how people talk about it is just like you see him kneel on him. You see, like the guy's talking about he can't breathe. People are like, you need to check his pulse. The guy dies.
There was a lady ran up. She said she was an EMT or something. She said, "Let me check him," you know. And the cops are like, "Back up." And I'm like,
that's why when the case came up about his charges and all that, at first it was set to be at third degree, meaning that he did it on accident. Well, I was telling people, it's like there's no way that can be considered an accident. Wow, like you're clear as day cutting off somebody's air circulation. When you say like 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Like how long? What do you expect to happen?
And like hella people were right there. Like he cannot breathe. You know.
Yeah,
that's why I was glad they got changed to second degree.
No, yeah, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the source I feel like the source comes from not only racism, but just like poor structure planning about like how police should interact with people. Then you have the race component. Then you have the economic component of they
not enough training.
They don't get much training. They also don't get paid that much. Is what I mean. Don't get me wrong. Like the union and the way that the union protects them is very nice, and they do try and work out some decent pay for them. But yeah,
wait a minute.
I hear about a lot of cops not making that much money. You hear about something?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, well, what is it? What is the average cop salary?
You want to look that up? My idea on what the source of them killing people is group psychology, like in group, out group psychology.
I think that's a major contributor.
Yeah, because and this is how I explained it to Spot's father and my father and their wives, because my mom it was right there and his mom was right there, and I was like, it's the same thing that a person experiences when you wear the wrong jersey in the wrong state. Like if you're wearing a Lakers jersey and you're in Michigan or something, they're not gonna be nice to you. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing here, rocking that shit?" You know. And it's the same thing with police. When they see you, they're not looking at you as a citizen. They see you as a potential threat, and they're going to do what they think they have to do to defend themselves. Or if you know, in every group, there's going to be a percentage of people who are racist or whatever. You know, just like I heard back in the day that some of the police were from like Mexican gangs, like 13th Street or something like that. Like a lot of them, they send one of their guys in there to go up through the ranks so they can, prosecute who they think that should be prosecuted. And I'm like, that makes sense, All you gotta do is just get in. You ain't got no tattoos or nothing. Just get in, act regular,
Yeah, infiltration.
You infiltrate.
Do the average in California.
Oh, all right.
35K, okay, per year.
Yeah, 35 to 90K, which sounds
That's
about
a
right.
big
I
ass
mean,
gap though.
Yeah, it's like, damn.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, 35K, 35K a year.
Who's getting a 90 and who's getting a 35?
I'm doing Postmates and I'm not far off from 35, bro. Like, and you're out here risking your life.
Yeah, that's better. 55.
55, yeah, that sounded more like it. There's probably certain states too that.
That's why I told him to do California,
Right.
because that 35 could probably be like in Texas or something. But,
Yeah, bro, but 55. Yeah, but 55.
That's better.
55 trying to live in San Francisco is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, wait.
Yeah.
You had to get a closet for your home.
Yes.
And you'd have to sleep in there with brooms.
I was
going
to say, you mean split a closet?
You gotta split a closet with 4 other roommates.
So it was like Futurama.
It's almost
this bitch.
5. So it's like $4,500 a month, basically.
Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, man, I feel like we gotta there's just a big history of military power being split between like the kind of like external military force and like the army that goes out and conquers, and then like the internal military force and kind of like control of authority and violence and force. And I feel like we're living through the interaction between those two things of like how power shifts from a small handful of people to a larger handful of people. And I don't mean to say that like it's guaranteed that we're going to get to a place in which every person has power, but I just feel like those are the two, I guess, kind of like largest scale contributors to what drives what's going on. Then you have the racial component, because people place so much value in race and and all of that. And then on top of that, you have poor training. I think a bit of bravado as well. Like you got a bunch of people next to you screaming that you're doing your job wrong. So then your ego kicks in, and you're just like, well, fuck it. You think I'm.
Also, I feel like they're hyped up off the last job they probably came from, or they're hyped up off stories that they heard from other cops.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, last week I seen one black dude murder another black dude, or
That
one black dude.
That doesn't help either.
It just not helping. but it's like, that's an individual thing. It's like you're not living your life right if you're out there murdering other black people. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of factors, like y'all said earlier, that contribute to why black people are like that.
Yeah, I think it can prime you to a biased conclusion.
Yeah.
Like if you're around, if you're in a small town and a couple black people are violent or something like that, or you hear some stories about some people who are violent, you may not get the right impression. Maybe the people who are around you, who you're interacting with, have nothing to do with what's going on. And but then they have to live out that consequence and that tyranny of you, and and whatever bad preconceived notion you got about them. So I don't know. I think one thing that we got to one thing that I feel like is definitely going to happen regardless is people are going to ask more. People are going to demand more of their law enforcement. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a raising of the bar of what we're expecting from law enforcement.
I see that happening already.
Be interesting. Well, I just didn't know if they would fully go through with it or not. Mm-hmm. But that is a good idea. Let's go through more process to becoming a cop.
I think there'll be a pushback. I think some places will go through it. So you see some places are implementing more stuff and letting Black Lives Matter come in. And
I see so many billboards trying to get people to become cops, and I'm just like, most people don't want to risk being shot
every fucking time.
$55K a year.
Every time I see a police department billboard or a military billboard where it's the army, and they're like, basically like barely able to hold back them tears and them just being like, please join, please.
They used to come up to our high school and like try to beg kids to join the military and the police and stuff. Please. We'll pay for your education. We'll pay for where you live. We'll pay for your car, your house, everything. Just come on. And most guys just walk by the table like, nah, I'm straight. You know.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thanks for dropping by, D.
Safe.
Oh, it's a pleasure, sir.
Next time we'll have him on for longer because we had some technical difficulties setting up. So yeah.
So we're just gonna keep on.
Yeah, we'll just keep rolling and then we'll cut at some point and then Spot will be here miraculously.
Oh yeah.
Well, if it's so bad, get out of the country. I'm like, that's the same. They're like, oh, black people. They're like, black people be throwing in the race cards so much. I was like, white people like to throw in it's just so bad, get out of the country. Like, no, that's not the defense. It's like if somebody's like, hey, you're acting like an asshole. Like, well, I'm such an ass, get out. No, you need to stop. Assess what the fuck you're doing in your own house and be like, am I being an asshole? Like, not am I being, am I generally being, unwelcoming? Like, oh, this person just doesn't know how to act. Like, no, you might be acting like an asshole. Mm-hmm. So fix that and then invite people back in your home, especially if you want to say, my home welcomes all, my home, da-da-da-da. So I'm like, no, if that's the case.
My home is the land of the free.
Yeah, don't put land of the free, home of the brave in anything. Don't get, don't say that we're the land of opportunity because we're not.
Wait, are we recording? Because this is good content.
Yeah, we're recording.
All right, yeah.
We are rolling.
Yeah. So earlier, me, Rob, and DeAndre, we were talking about like discrimination or, like just
largely me, mainly me.
Nobody else is speaking about it but you.
We were talking about like, sometimes you might go in a store and get a weird vibe from the people who are selling the stuff there, or somebody might say something weird to you on the street, and I asked them if they had any stories, and I kind of told a story from when we were younger, and it was like some white skinheads. We were coming out of a movie.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. It was knives brought out.
Yeah. But gladly it didn't get violent. Nobody died or anything.
Too much, not too much.
Could have got bad though, but
it took me a minute to realize they were talking about us too. I was like.
That's because we not bothered. We not worried nobody.
I was like, oh, y'all really trying. Like, I thought
I
thought they were just talking. Like, we were just catching up over here and some shit. I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh, y'all really trying. Okay.
But yeah, we're also talking about the police and like our interactions with the police.
That's how I think most people got this shit. Are we cussing or no?
Yeah, you can cuss.
Okay. That's why I think most people got this shit fucked up because it's like they think it's a racial issue as far as like black versus white shit, and that's not the point. It's not a black versus white issue right now. It's literally just a black issue. It has nothing to do with white people to be 1,000. So that's why we feel kind of upset when people say all lives matter. It's like y'all putting yourselves in an issue that has nothing to fucking do with you like that.
I think it kind of does have to deal with white people because there are some white people who are police officers who are racist.
That's true, but the point is not a white officer is racist. The point is the fact that the police in general, the treatment of how they treat black people in general, the fact that the Asian cop wasn't really tripping when this dude is strangling, and on this other's neck, because they just don't value human lives, and that's the whole point. It's like black people do not feel like our lives are valued. It feels like we're just kind of being like, hey, you step out of line, nigga, get back in place, So it's like, it's not as much as, oh, well, white cops.
Like you see them as the other team.
Exactly.
They're not on your
That's
team.
the whole point. It's not white cops versus black people. It's police in general and how the law is disenfranchising blacks. How come we are the highest incarcerated? How are we the highest killed by police unarmed statistically? White people like to be on comments with that. Well, white people are killed more by police. There are more of you motherfuckers out here. So technically, by numbers, there should be more of you guys getting killed by police. But when we stack up the percentage of you guys next to the percentage of us, our percentage is higher. We shouldn't have such high numbers for a low percentage of population in America. So a lot of people like to be on some, oh, well, white people get killed at the same time. No, not at the same rate. You guys get killed at a normal rate. We get killed at a higher rate. So the fact that we're getting killed at a higher rate, even though there's less of us in here, is an issue. And the fact that when we get killed, there is no justice being held. That's another issue. It's not just we're getting killed by police. It's that when we do get killed, most of the people that do it get acquitted.
I could hear someone else arguing against that and saying that there's a lot of black people who live in like lower income areas and they live in the ghettos a lot of the time.
Nah.
And maybe that contributes more to
Because you gotta understand, like, the ghettos, one, are impoverished. Some of them, their schools are underfunded. All the community things are underfunded. But the main thing about the police activity that's fucking it up is, one, the police that are not in that neighborhood are not from that neighborhood or policing neighborhood. So the people that are policing your children, your sons, daughters, and all the people driving, they don't care about that neighborhood because they're not from that neighborhood.
I feel like even if you're from that neighborhood, if you're always in situations that like you hear about black people killing each other or prostituting little girls out to each other and stuff, and like you deal with cases where you see it in person and stuff, and like, you know, you hear about cops being killed and stuff.
But I feel like most of those cases are highly exaggerated in black neighborhoods because of how media likes to portray it. It's like people like to say, okay, if there are black on black crime, if black on black crime really exists, white on white crime exists at the same, if not higher rate. Just because, like I said before, there are more white people. So every time Tom kills his wife, that's a white on white crime.
And I feel like there's less, I don't know if this is true statistically. I would have to look it up, but I feel like there's less poor white people. Like they because they have a larger population, they probably have a large population of poor white people.
Their population of white people is still,
but compared to other races, that's probably a lot lower.
It's their thing is lower. The white people, poor population of white people is either at the same level or, you know, lower as minorities, which is like, how do you guys have the same or less?
Can we look like up some?
I was going to say, I feel like it really depends on which
state,
what the exact statement is that you're looking for, as far as like, let's say like the average
incarceration, or
I know we're the highest incarcerated
statistics.
So like for example, I know for the average household income, so that's specifically, you know, the household income of families, we're pretty low, and the trajectory is it ain't looking good.
That's what I'm saying. And the whole point is that when you go into a neighborhood and they are disenfranchising you and they are putting you in a impoverished neighborhood, they're not giving you the chance to you know, kind of like help yourself. Of course, there's going to be crime in that neighborhood. There's going to be poverty. There's going to be stuff for people trying to get ahead. So then they're going to send the police in and say, hey, you guys go ahead and police this area and make sure everything's okay and fix it, especially because, you know, there's a bunch of niggers in that area. So they go out and police the area the way they see fit because they want to lower crime. And now there's a heavier police presence in the ghetto than there normally is in Beverly Hills. There's people in the hood just driving around trying to look for people with crime when that doesn't happen in Beverly Hills. There's no police just kind of like really doing a real beat looking for, you know, gang members in Beverly Hills, looking for people that look suspicious in Beverly Hills unless they're looking for black people. So when you go to the hood that's now being highly policed because they say it's a highly dangerous area, even when they fix the crime, now the police commissioner is expecting you to have the same arrest rate, the same arrest record. So now you're going and looking for crime. Now you're going and pressing people like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you here? Stop and frisk, shit like that. And you're causing reasons to arrest people just so you can keep up your arrest rate from when the police was first installed to be more of a dominating force than to protect and serve. So when you have people coming in with this mentality around these people of, hey, every time I go into the hood, it's a war zone. It's not. We go to the hood all the time. We stand there. It's not a war zone how people think it is. Now it's being portrayed in the hood. It's really not. So the fact that we're being portrayed as these thugs, these you know, da 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 da. Like that's the whole point of this whole rally is that we're trying to change the perception that people have of us, that we are just thugs because we're upset that we're getting killed by the police, and the fact that we're saying, hey, we're getting killed by police at a higher rate than you, and people are saying, well, why are you complaining? Stop complaining. This isn't we don't want to hear it. That's why we're getting so offended. It's like, hey, look, we're not even asking for a handout. We're not asking to take over the world. We don't want, you know, white slavery. That's not what we're asking. We're only asking for equality and justice when one of us are taken out unfairly. The same way that white people will be in the Starbucks complaining about how their mocha latte is not correct. We want to do the exact same thing except for our lives. So the same way white people will want to feel the need to complain when they feel like the earth is not how they want to do it and how it is, you know. Oh, this is America. We want you to stand for the flag. Okay, well, this is America. I want to be able to live without people killing me, you know.
I feel like the police, there is a lot of footage and a lot of documentation of police killing black people.
Mm-hmm.
But statistically speaking, I don't know, but I've heard from other people on the internet say that it's going down, that there's not really that many black people being killed by police. It's just that we have camera phones now, and that every time a black person gets killed, it goes right to the internet.
But
and footage and video of someone being murdered, that's visceral, and it's going to go viral every time.
But think about this. Not only that, because I'm pretty sure there's videos of white people getting strangled, choked out, slammed by the police. There's a couple. I'm pretty sure there's a few out there.
Yeah, it's called Cops. It's called the show Cops.
The show Cops, which is now canceled.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's like the media wants us to stay in this mental state of fear. In this mental, like almost like it's a mental attack, because we're the only ones that get shown this information. Oh, even the Asian people that get choked out, strangled by police and all this other shit, it doesn't get shown over and over. Even the Mexican people that get strangled and shot out and all this by police, it doesn't get showed over and over and over again. It doesn't get shown every time it happens. And even if it doesn't happen, like say if after this, we don't have a police shooting that gets recorded for a while, they'll go and get some old footage. And like, yeah, 2 years ago, this shit happened. Here, look at this new video. And they'll throw it out and put it in your face. This crime is now being investigated.
I heard that, you know, one of those old videos, the police, I don't know if they weren't hiding it or whatever, but they were withholding it from the public's view.
But that's the point. It's like okay, as soon as
hiding it.
You remember that joke that Dave Chappelle made where it was like every time something in the world happens, Michael Jackson touches a little kid? You know, it seems like the world asked Michael Jackson to touch a little kid. Back at that joke, he was like, damn, you know, something happens, and all of a sudden, Michael Jackson touching a little boy to distract the world from what's really happening.
So you have a theory that it's a distraction?
Not that it's a distraction, but that low-key, it's almost like every time something serious happens, you also notice that we get killed, one of us gets killed, or not even we get killed, the footage of us arrives on air. Like, I remember the Tamir Rice footage didn't come up for a while. And it's like, okay, well, why the fuck are y'all showing this shit now? It's a little kid. Like, y'all really just want to show us a little kid get killed just so we can see it?
I think it's like they gotta drop it. They feel like
they don't
just
have to
withhold it forever, then somebody will drop it. They'll leak it, and then it'll make the force look even worse. It's like,
look at this
leaked footage of police killing a kid.
I feel like I'm a little skeptical as far as just like seeing like what the actual motivation and kind of benefit of it, of like the different, I don't know, of like the timing of different events and how they drop, and how like it'll be like an intersection of different issues. So it'll be like a racial issue and an economic issue, and it's like maybe the drop time makes sense for like a specific racial narrative, but not necessarily on like the economics. It doesn't really like help people out. I don't know. Sometimes I
but
kinda,
it's like, okay,
I feel
so
like the like now, for example, the cops hiding the footage of the person getting killed so that they could kind of keep a certain kind of lid on the case and how that was running. I totally think that they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like any kind of like overall, like basically what you're talking about is like it would have to be a conspiracy on the national level to coordinate the different cases being revealed nationally to deliver some kind of like narrative.
Okay.
Plus, I don't know. Like I tend not to think that people.
I think it's spontaneous and they use it.
It's not even necessarily like conspiracies, but it's just specifically conspiracy theories in which people are using the media to try and make one specific group, I guess like one specific group scare themselves, like because of all the killings that they see of those people. I just don't think it's really beneficial for them, for black people to be scared. Like if you would have said, like there's a bunch of shows that make black people seem scary to white people, okay, then like that seems kind of believable to me. But less more so that the show's trying to make black people scared about them getting shot in the streets, because just then I feel like then it makes them want to turn up more, and then you have more rioting.
But you know that's kind of American history. That's kind of where we came from. There was a thing called buck busting. So back in slavery, they'd go and get the strongest, biggest, toughest black dude that they seen, the most rebellious buck that they could find. They go send 4 white people in his cell, grab him, take him in front of all the other strong, big, buff black men, bend him over a bar, tie him, and literally rape him in front of everybody else. So they showed him, hey, look, we're gonna literally.
But I feel like the intention of that is
that's the thing. They're
trying to get the other black people to quell their spirits.
No, that's what I'm saying.
If you drop videos of police murdering black people, I feel like it's gonna have the opposite.
No, but
effect.
that's the point. It's one, but that's the point that they're not catching. Is one, they're doing this to be like, okay, look, we can break your spirit, we can do this, that. So it's the exact same. Most of these black men that you're noticing are big, buff black dudes that you're seeing. Is okay, these big, gigantic black men that they're taking down, strangling out, choking out, and they're trying to do this in a we can do this at any time type of effect until they see the response that you get from black people every single time gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it necessarily doesn't get too violent. There's a couple riots here and there, and then the one time where one person decided to actually go on a full-blown shooting spree with the police. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna sit here and film that too to say, oh, see what happens when the black guy gets mad, and try to justify, oh, see this is what happens when blacks get guns, But I really do think that the narrative of not necessarily to spook black people, but it is a mental a psychiatric kind of like warfare of like, here, we're just gonna show you your people getting killed on a regular and daily basis. We're gonna allow that. There's a guideline on Instagram where you can't show a lot of shit. You can't show a lot of shit, especially murder, death, and all that. You can't show breasts, but you can show somebody getting choked out on Instagram.
But
even though social media is censored,
that's almost like the opposite of what you're talking about. Then for like the Instagram where you can't show the murder, like so. In your case of, like, I feel like in what you're talking about, that Instagram would promote the murder footage, so then more people are more scared.
Not promote.
If we found out that they were boosting,
not promoting,
boosting the murder footage.
But I'm saying it's not promoting, but it's like
censoring.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like everything else is censored. Everything else is a delicate. Like I said, you don't really see too much of white people getting killed by police, and that's why they don't complain about it. They don't complain about how, oh my God, so-and-so got killed by the police, but they always bring it up when we bring it up. White people get killed at a higher rate. Yeah, but where are you guys' footage of it? Where is all this stuff? Like, can you prove it? Because most of these people are getting killed for plenty different reasons than just like.
I feel like there's probably video, but people get less outraged because it's black people and we're a minority. We're like a smaller number of people, so it's like seeing an Indian person getting choked out by the police or something.
But that to me would say,
and our history has a lot to do with it too.
That's the point. The history behind us.
We have civil rights behind us and all that, and like in Jim Crow and everything. So any type of public official doing something bad to black people nowadays is going to be seen as
exactly. That's because the race history that we have behind it, everybody thinks is over. Everybody already thinks is like, all right, so. We're done. We can't really we're not really racist no more. The world is done. Jim Crow is over. All this is over. So when something happens, they think it's like, oh, this is just happened for no reason. You guys should just let it go. This is not left over from slavery. There's nothing, America's not racist no more. So basically, it's one of those things where everybody doesn't believe that this is black people being treated unfairly as a leftover kind of residue from racism. So when they see our response to it, it's seen as kind of a defiant act because it's like, oh, why are you acting like this? I'm not racist. Hey, we're not personally attacking you. This has nothing to do with you. This has to do with all of us. This has to do with how we're treated by more than just you.
When you say that, whose reaction are you saying?
Like I said, the woman that I just talked, like I'm on Instagram right now, she's giving me this whole spiel about how she had her son's daughter, or her daughter's boyfriend is black, and he's had all these opportunities to, get it right, and they've let him spend the night over their house, but he still came over their house, said some really mean things, and called them a racist, and then walked out. And she's now using that. She's like, you gotta understand, I'm really upset about that. And I'm like, okay, you're using one generalization from one black person that to generalize how all black people feel. And personally, I don't know what the argument was over. Y'all could have said some racist shit. So, and you just didn't get it. Just like how I'm talking to you now, and you're talking about, well, go to another country if all this is too much for you. That's a racist statement, especially in a country that's supposed to be the land of the free, the home of the brave. That is a very racist statement. If you guys can't get with the program we got over here, which is a racist program, get out. Instead of being like, hey, no, this is the land where we're trying to take opportunity and make sure that everybody feels free and represented. Then you need to take the time and opportunity to make sure everybody feels free and represented. And if somebody's like, hey, I feel like we're getting killed.
I feel like a lot of them probably feel like they try. It's just that with any large group of people, you're going to have a percentage that are just stupid.
Yeah, I feel like.
Or you're going to have a percentage that are racist.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have a percentage that are super patriots or whatever, Like it's gonna be a mixture of people, just like with the protests, how there was some people who were burning buildings down and stuff, or doing whatever they want to do. So it's like there's always gonna be that percentage of people, and you can try to account for them, but over time, I feel like as long as we're moving in a certain direction, and it's not like statistic. When we look up the statistics, it's like, oh yeah, the numbers are actually going up. Like people every week we're getting new footage of people getting murdered. It's like the frequency of people getting murdered by the police, I feel like, I don't know if it's going down, but it's like you don't hear about it that much. That's
literally the only thing, is the fact that we're not hearing about it that much. One, we only hear about the stuff that gets recorded or reported. Like I said, everything gets brought up years later when I feel like it's either more volatile. Like, not to say that any of these issues don't need to be brought up, don't need to be brought to light or anything like that. It's just the timing of all this stuff is always questionable to me. Like, the next black issue that came out about justice for black people right after this was about a case that happened 2 years ago, about a black lady that was found beaten and thrown off a balcony in her friend's home, and it was an all moms party. But apparently three dudes,
sleepover.
Yeah, a little sleepover. But apparently 3 dudes showed up out of nowhere, and she was the only black woman. 1,000 people are killed. 98 people killed in 2019, and this is it's America, and then most of it is America. That's crazy.
What's like the statistics on?
Yeah, now
per year.
Now I feel like that's almost like a whole nother issue. But even getting outside of like the racial, the specific racial issue of how unarmed black people are shot by cops, you still have the fact that the United States has more prisoners per capita over any other country, even China. Like most people assume, like, I mean, not most people, but a lot of people, especially from here in the West, would think of, very totalitarian, very authoritarian country, China. And it's just like, yeah, well, I mean, with all the authoritarianness that they are executing, they have less people in prison than we do. We still have more people.
We have way more people in prison. Our sentences are longer, and on top of that, we are the most highly incarcerated.
And they got way more people than us. They got dumb more people
Exactly,
than us.
but not even just America. Okay, so American has the more people in prison, and out of those people in prison, most people that are in prison are black people. Most people in prison for nonviolent offenses are black people. People with the longest sentences for the same crime are black people.
Yeah, though they do give more years.
They give way more years to black people,
apples.
and they make us serve most of our time, if not all of it. There is no like, oh, well, you served 1/3 of your time, nothing like that. So, for us, it is it's literally documented. You can go and pull up the facts of how we are treated differently just because of our skin, and for people to kind of try to combat that with, well, all of our lives matter, and you just need to, use your platform to,
I feel like, but also there's a prison industrial complex, and I feel like that's tied to capitalism and like big companies that profit, or people who own my baby's laughing, or people who own those big companies who like they stand to benefit off the population in prisons being inflated. So instead of investing in jobs programs or education or whatever, they rather build a new prison because they feel like they could make that money a lot quicker, and they probably have some nefarious plans as well,
So if there's a prison industrial complex,
but I feel like a lot of black people they walk right into the trap. It's like this is set up to where if you are black and you like are in the wrong place or you acting weird or something, they already looking at us suspicious when we go into stores.
So that's what I was saying.
So some black people, when they're dealing with the police, I've seen a lot of videos where black people are like elbowing the cop in the head and shit. They're like, nah, man, I'm not.
Because they gotta understand.
All right, my guy.
But you gotta understand, like, when you're being profiled like that, everybody wants us to respond to being profiled peacefully. There's only so many times you can get profiled before you get upset. The best way I heard.
But you don't get upset with a guy who has a gun.
Even if it's
because
a guy, even if it's
a
guy.
Anybody could easily grab the gun away from the cop and shoot him with it.
But you know that
he's thinking about that.
But you know that London and China, their police don't carry guns. They have police that come out with
their
guns.
Population doesn't have access to guns like we do.
But even then, that's the point. If we're trying to be really real about this gun law and this gun violence and all that stuff, it starts with the police, because you're not training these people properly. It takes longer for you to get your barber's certification than to become a police officer.
I feel like it's kind of gray area because they're probably having police shortages because a lot of people do not want to be police right now.
That's the point.
Yeah, but
you can't. That's a job you can't take shortcuts.
So it's like they need a certain amount of police compared to the population, and it's like if we don't have the people out there, there's going to be calls that have to go unanswered.
But
you can't take shortcuts in that type of thing.
Here's my thing about a lot of like those almost like seemingly devil's advocate arguments for like why it's kind of like more black people's fault than like the systemic nature of this is like, how long have we known these things?
Exactly.
How long have we known things about like how populations respond to policing, how to socially engineer, how to make better government programs? I feel like a lot of times when I hear people saying like, oh, well, like, what are we going to do because like we have so many people with guns, and like, so I mean, like, if people have the guns, then the cops just have to have the gun. Like, honestly, I feel like people just kind of like all of a sudden become like really uncreative in how well they think that they can socially engineer a situation, or like reform like how a certain government body interacts with people, just so they can kind of drive home. I mean, maybe not like from their internal motivation that they're trying to drive home, but I feel like it has this effect of just like personally, I feel like they act like we're dumber than they really are, and as far as just being able to actually change stuff in like a society and give people like better economic access so that you can start to get ahead of some of these effects. And then on top of that,
that's why I said I think it's might be a nefarious undertone to it, because I agree. I feel like they do know that they could, get in front of it and train guys more and stuff like that. But it's like They're not
Well, that's
going to
right.
do that.
If you
Yeah.
think there's a prison
The
industrial,
solution is not going to come from the government.
But if there's a prison industrial complex, do you not think
In my
there will
mind.
be a police industrial, like some? If the point is to get black people in prison and make
Yeah, oh,
money,
no, yeah.
don't you think there'll be
Yes,
something
yes.
in place for the
Yes,
police
the
to
police-
get the black people in jail
No,
so
I
they
feel
can
like
make the money?
I feel like it's
Has to be
top
an
down though. It's
aspect.
like it comes
Even if
from
that's
like
I'm
the
just saying, do you not
culture.
think that
Everything is a part of like creating this team psychology thing where it's like fuck the police and the police are like fuck y'all because y'all criminals or whatever. So it
believe it's
creates
more-
like
I think
a
it's
friction between like the police and the people. So whenever a cop is like, oh, can I see your ID? The black guy's like, oh, fuck that shit. There's
Yeah,
some people
but
who
I-
are like
I
that, and
believe
then there's
it's
some
more-
guys who are like,
believe
no,
it's
sir,
more
I know
bottom
my
up.
rights. You need to tell me.
I still,
you
it's
know.
a little bit more complicated like that because I tell people, I'm the type of person, you've been pulled over with me, you've been pulled over with me. I'm the type of person that I am very calm when I get pulled over.
Yeah.
And I'm very respectful. I'm very, hey, look, now here's my license. I know my rights. You can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm still exposed to unfair treatment. You were with me the day me, Code, and Adam got pulled over after the Snoop concert, right? I don't remember if you drove yourself.
I did drive myself. I
But you
remember
at
you guys got pulled over behind me, but they
Right,
didn't pull
right.
me over.
Exactly. So literally, we pulled out of a Snoop concert, get pulled over, and they're like, "Hey, blah 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 blah." Long story short, they asked me to step out of the car, and I'm like, "Are you asking me? Or are you telling me? Because I know my rights. If you ask me to step out of the car so you can search it, I have the right to say no to a search if it's an unlawful search." So he's like, "Can you step out of the car so I can search the car, please?" I said, "No, absolutely not." I was like, "Are you asking me or are you telling me?" He said, "I'm asking you." I said, "Absolutely not." He's like, "Why?" And I didn't even be too combative. I said, "Honestly, sir, the only reason why I'm saying no is because whenever you cops search my car, you don't find anything, but you leave my car absolutely trashed. There's trashed all over everything in my consoles and everything in my glove box is thrown on the floor. Everything from my back seat and everything in my trunk is just tossed around, and you guys don't put anything back, even though you didn't find anything. It's like somebody coming in your room, throwing everything on the floor, and not finding what they need and leaving. And it's disrespectful. I don't like it. And he's like, "Oh," walks to the back for a second, comes back to the front, like, "Well, I smell weed. Get out the car." And I'm like, "Excuse you? Like, no, I haven't even been smoking, bro. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Nope, get out the car." So I'm like, "All right, I told him, like, I'm going to get out the car. I know you're going to search my car. I'm letting you know right now, I understand this is an unlawful search, but I'm going to go ahead and let you do your unlawful search anyway because I already told you no." They go through my car, pull out this little white stick from the Tootsie Pop, and it's like, "Is this your Coke straw, huh?" And I'm like, "Are you stupid?" And I literally told him, like, "Bro, are you stupid?" I was like, "That's a Tootsie Roll Pop. It doesn't even have a hole in it. You think I'd get a Coke straw to do Coke? I don't even look like I do Coke." In that part, I'm starting to get aggressive because of the way that you're now treating me. Just because you have a badge and a gun, that does not mean you get to talk to me any kind of way. You don't get to assume I do Coke. You don't get to assume I deal drugs. Just because you have a badge and a gun and I dress the way I do, just like you don't want to be treated a certain way just because you're a cop. You don't want to think you're a bad apple. I don't want to be treated like I'm a thug. I've already showed you that I'm educated. I can speak to you in a respectful manner. So for you to come back to me and say, "Is this your Coke straw?" and do it as a joke and to thrash my car around when I've already previously told you, like, this is why I don't want you to search my car, is just disrespectful and is you trying to fuck with me. So for me, it's like being polite. We've seen that doesn't work. Being
I'm not saying be polite. I'm saying
I'm not willing to say that.
not that it doesn't
I'm
work.
saying
Not that
don't
it doesn't
be
work.
antagonistic.
Yeah, but
is
I'm
all
saying,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
I'm saying being polite has shown to be not effective all the time. I will say that as well because I have had pleasant encounters with the police. I'll say that. Doing nothing, saying nothing, is shown not to work sometimes. Being completely within your rights of the law, like with the Castile. I don't want to mess up his first name. Fernando. There we go. Castile. So I was gonna say Fernando. See, no. His perfectly within his rights to the law. Like, "Hey, look, I'm just letting you know I have a gun on me, and I'm going to reach for my license." Okay, he reaches for his license and still got shot. So it's not even that I want to kill you. We're gonna kill people. It's the perception of black people that I feared for my life is a valid reason to kill somebody, and it's not. If they would have said my life was in danger, I would understand that. I'd be completely with that because it's a completely different statement. That statement means my life. Like, they had a gun on me. They were beating the shit out of me. My life was in danger, and I shot this person. But to say I was so scared that I pulled out my gun prematurely, out of all the different things that I have to stop this dude, the billy club, the taser, the pepper spray, my fist, you know, out of everything I have on my belt to stop this dude and incapacitate him, I reached for my gun first to kill him because I was so scared. Because we're not taught to shoot at the knees. We're not taught to shoot at the arm. We're not taught to shoot to down somebody. We're taught to shoot to kill. And we've only been taught that for a couple months. And then also some of us are coming back from military training. So we're definitely taught to shoot to kill. We're not taught to de-escalate situations. We're not taught to, you know, that's what I'm saying. They're not taught, just like we're expected to be kind and respectful to them, they're not taught to be kind and respectful to us. They're taught we are the law.
I don't know if people are
plus
expected
also
to be that way.
any expectation about a general population of regular people, what they're supposed to do, that's anywhere near what a specific career industry group is supposed to do. Like that's so
exactly
weird. Like get everyone
all black people act like this.
Get all black people smart and dumb, mentally healthy and not, rich and poor. Get them all to behave well
in the same manner. Exactly. So that's the whole point.
What I'm saying.
That's them. And then from our perspective, it's
I think they deal with a plethora of people. Like
they do, but they treat us. Most of the thing they treat black people on the same level as if we've already committed the crime. I will say this: most of the cops that I feel like have treated me fairly, I don't think it was because of their police training. I think it's because they were raised to be decent and kind human beings, and I could feel that by the way that they talk to me. Yeah. Other cops, you can tell that their training has taught them to be the authoritative figure. So when they come and approach you,
well, that's who they are.
Even if that's who they
before
are,
they even put on the
but I'm saying even if that's who they are, uniform. The training of the police incites that. It just it adds gas to that. You're the
I do think the training can exaggerate that.
I feel like the training exaggerate. Hey, get him on the floor. Ask him. Tell him to stop resisting. Tell him to. You don't have to ask him. You know what? The police are not taught to normally negotiate.
He's mugging me.
Yeah,
he's mugging me because he wants crack.
He's mugging me with his hands tied.
He's in his bed.
He's in his bed. He's mugging me.
He's mugging me.
But no, they're taught to come into a situation and fix it, not even diffuse it. Just fix it. And their idea of fixing it is somebody has to go to jail. So if I call you, now say it's 3 a.m, we're in Beverly Hills, me and you are both white. You know, we're drunk, we get into a dispute. Somebody across the street calls the cops. And they come in and they come talk to us. Normally, if we're both drunk or whatever, we can talk to police. Hey, we're having a little party inside, had a discussion. We solved it. We apologize. There was a scuffle, but we solved it. It's cool. You know, they might see like a bruise on my cheek, like you guys are. It's cool. It was just like, you know, a brawl. It's cool. It's fine. It's okay. We're good, right? Normally, we're able to talk it out. Flipping around in an African American situation, which actually just happened to me and a friend of mine. Somebody in his house got into a scuffle. They solved it before the police got there. But somebody across the street called and was like, "Hey, yeah, we heard fighting and glass breaking across the hall." Police came and was like, "Well," and literally said, "Well, somebody has to go to jail tonight." And they're like trying to sit there and try to be like, "Well, which one?" And literally did a any, mini, miny, mo of which one they were going to take to jail on an assault charge. And the people inside were like, "We don't want to press charges. Nobody here's pressing charges. Nobody here press charges." But like, well, we were called, so and there was a fight, so somebody has to go to jail tonight. So that mentality of somebody has to go to jail tonight, you know, I'm here to take people to jail. I'm here to just assess the situation, you know, de-escalate it, make sure everybody goes home alive, and then leave, you know? So for us, the fact that you feel like in most black neighborhoods, and this is why I say we need to be policed by people that live in our neighborhoods, even if it's white people, we just need you to come into our neighborhoods, and even if you don't live there, volunteer. Teach a basketball team.
That might be good for de-escalation if you do arrest one of the people involved.
But it was already
what
de-escalated.
If you leave them? Mm-hmm. What if they say it's de-escalated, and then you're an officer and you leave, and then you get another call that at the location you just left, another fight broke out, but this time they had weapons and somebody died.
Now that is a possibility, but
So
literally
you gotta have proof of that.
that's literally a proof.
You can't preemptively arrest people
on something like one of y'all might kill me. Yeah, or
if
one of
no one is there complaining about the crime and you have no evidence complaining,
if you
literally
if you already been called and what if you already had calls come in that say that they've been fighting for a while or whatever?
I can only speak to
it's like this is not the first call we've gotten that said that you guys are fighting.
If you like showed up there and there were like subtle clues, there's like blood everywhere.
They're still fighting. Everybody's still yelling at each other and shit.
You can see like physical signs of distress or something like that. Yeah. Then maybe. But if there's nothing,
there was literally
like
when
that,
they came over,
like,
nobody was mad. Everybody told everybody told like it was a small fight. Some people they got into a fight, but it's fine. It's fine now. They came out together. They're like, no, we're good. We're good. And like literally they showed like we're good. Everybody's fine. We finished it. The beef is squashed. And he still was just on some like, oh, somebody's got to go to jail. We were called. So for me, it's one of those things where it's already perceived like we gotta jail one of you guys. Like you guys have to go to jail. But on the other side, it's just like, hey, we just want to make sure everybody's taken care of and everybody's safe.
Yeah, that's putting people in a box is what's going to make this thing better. So as long as we just get someone in a box,
exactly. And on top of that, now a black man has a rest.
If there's fighting, like if there's a couple in a house fighting, and there's a kid in there, they have to take the kid.
But that's different. That's a different scenario. That's
even if they get there, and they're not fighting, if they got a call. And there's a kid in there.
To me, that's
different.
No, that's a different one.
They're going to take the kid.
Exactly. If you get there and then you confirm that there was fighting going on, then
and even then
the kid shouldn't be there.
No, even then in that kind of situation, they'll only take the kid if the fighting occurred in front of the child. Like if you guys,
the kid has to see it.
The kid has to see it. Yeah. So that's the only time they take the kid. But this is a totally different situation. No kids were around. We were all adults. We were drunk, but in the privacy of somebody else's home. Had a fight, which happens. Was squashed, which also happens. But they thought the solution of that was to give a black man a arrest record now for assault and battery, which is a violent crime. So now whenever the homie has to go and I'm pretty sure he's getting the case thrown out, but whenever he goes and does, if he doesn't,
so they took him in. They took him in.
Okay. So whenever he goes and applies for a job now, have you been arrested for a violent crime? Yes. Please, assault and battery. And now he has to explain. I got, the police just took me in for no reason. And nobody's really going to hear that. They're going to see assault and battery, look at that shit, and throw it in the trash. So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that are being done on our end just be based on how we are perceived. Just based on how we're perceived. So it's like, all right.
But if he was fighting in there and somebody called and said that they're fighting in there,
the call,
that's not like, oh, y'all was in there chilling on the couch and the police came in.
That was
like
thing.
One of y'all got to come.
The complaint that they said, like, we got a call that somebody heard yelling and screaming in here. Not even that somebody heard fighting. Like, we had a call that heard somebody heard yelling and screaming and commotion going on in here. It was like, yeah, there was a small dispute. It's been solved, right? That right there should have solved the issue, should have squashed the issue. The people, they were like, well, who was fighting? We were like, 2 people. And we were trying to keep the information light. The people that were fighting were like, we're going to come out and tell them it's okay and show them we're fine. So that was the whole point. For me, there was no justification on arrest to be made that night. Everybody did, their part to make sure the fight was over, squashed, before the police even came there. When they actually showed up, we were like, why y'all here? Like, we thought we were about to get a noise complaint. Because the fight happened so long ago, we were like, okay, well, if y'all were supposed to come here and save somebody would have been dead by now. So for me, it's you guys are quick to come and arrest somebody, but you're not quick to come and help someone. But if we were to get people in these neighborhoods that actually live in these neighborhoods or actually like contributed in these neighborhoods, grew up in these neighborhoods, or just even volunteered in these neighborhoods, when they get into situations like these, one, it's more likely for them to open the door like, oh, Richard? Oh, what's up, bro? What's going on? Tell me what's going on. And when you tell them what's going on, they're more likely to listen and adhere to what you say. Bro, it was a fight. That shit squashed now.
Most murders are committed by people who know each other.
Of course. But that's only because most murders
the cops knowing the people, I don't think it would be that big of a help. But I think it would be a help, though.
We're not talking about being a help on solving crimes. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, I mean, I'm talking about even de-escalating it. No. It's like, if you see a nigga who's a cop who you went to high school with, and it's like, the nigga's a weenie. He's been a weenie his whole life or whatever.
That's being
him
too,
being a cop and you knowing him is not gonna.
But I'm saying if I know you and you're a cop and my child gets in trouble, you as a cop are more likely to treat my child with at least a slight dignity, like a slight more level of respect, because you know him, you know his dad, you know how he's brought up. So when you talk to him, it's not more like, hey, get up against the wall, let me frisk you because I don't know you, I don't know what kind of energy you're gonna bring to me. It's more like, Spot Junior, what the hell are you doing? Come here, sit down. What are you doing? Why are you stealing from me? I know your dad. Why are you doing this? Why, you know, I'm not even gonna bring you in. I'm gonna call your dad because that's worse for you. You know, that's the kind of attitude that you'll bring, which is more of a helpful attitude because, one, you save a young black man from getting a arrest record too young. Two, you reprimand him still, and it's going to hurt his pride more than because most black men now praise going to jail. I just got out, I did 10, da-da-da-da-da. So now, instead of giving him something that he can use as a card for his toughness, you take that away and you now, like, I'm gonna deliver you to your mother. I'm about to take you to your dad and tell them what you just did. That'll be more of a punishment than come in here guns drawn because I don't know who you are and I don't trust you.
I feel like
imagine
that's
if
more
the police
small
came,
town police
not
work.
even,
What
no.
you're talking about.
Imagine,
if you're in a large scale city, like
even if you're in a large scale city,
any,
you're at
like,
least
like Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York.
If you're in a large scale city, you're more comfortable with the people that you're around the most. So if you're policing people in LA, right? Mm-hmm. And you coach the football team in LA, or you coach a basketball team in LA, you know, you are more likely when you're around black people a lot more. As a white coach, you're around black people a lot more. You're able to talk to them, get their stories, hear how they feel outside of the interaction between police. So if the only time you interact with black people is when you're shining a light in their face and you have their uniform on, of course you're going to have a completely different attitude and feel than as if you were interacting with black people all day. Like, that's why some white people feel way more comfortable around black people, because I grew up with black people, man. This is just how I am, man. This ain't an act. This is who I am. And that shit is real.
If you're a cop who, you know, you arrested a lot of black people, or you arrested a lot of people in general, then kind of being in that community dressed plain clothes seems like a very dangerous proposition to me.
That's why I'm saying before
I would not be chilling at no basketball game if I'm a cop has arrested violent gang members who have violent friends in that neighborhood.
What's that? There's a white cop that is.
I heard stories of cops being in line at restaurants or at a fast food place. A guy walks in with a gun and shoots them in the head and walks out.
That's happened with black, white, Italian people, Mexicans. That's happened everywhere. That's not just black people. And actually, I think that the number, you might have to look this up, Rob.
I'm just saying, in general, I would not want to live in the same community that I police.
See, me
for
personally,
that reason.
I wouldn't
want to be
that
walking around and my family and my wife and my kid. People are like, oh yeah, he goes there. But that's him right there.
This is my thing. If they're gonna get you, you're gonna get got. Exactly. Regardless, is if you're walking down the street.
But you can make it easier for people to get you. If you live in the same city as a certain gang, and you have put away a couple of their key members or whatever, and they hold any type of resentment towards you.
But they're gonna get you. If that's the case, if they have resentment towards you, they're gonna get you regardless.
But it would be better for them to have to come to Riverside.
They're not gonna come to Riverside. What they're gonna do is wait till you go on duty in their neighborhood and wait till you pull up on their block. They might even do something to get you to pull up in their neighborhood.
On duty is different than at the store with your family. You get me?
They're still gonna receive the same. It's
different than in line.
They're gonna
for
receive
some chicken.
The same.
As
a matter of fact, if they shoot you while you're in plain clothes in front of your family, they're gonna receive the more heat from the police department than if they would have shot you while you were on duty. Getting shot on duty is a part of the job.
Yeah.
Getting caught with your family, they're like, oh no, we're about to fry this motherfucker and put him under. Not even if him. We're gonna fry all black people in this area.
I don't know if they caught the guy who killed that cop, but they might have.
Normally,
I don't think
cop killers get caught.
I don't think they did.
Even if they don't get caught, they normally catch a bunch of people on some other shit and trump up their charges because now the police are hot because you killed one cop. So that's my same thing. If one cop gets killed on duty everybody is in an uproar as far as the police department, and they go into straight kill mode. Oh, we're doing everything we can to bring this motherfucker to justice. He killed a cop. But when a cop kills an unarmed black person, the uproar that comes from it angers other people. So that we get upset, like, yo, we got to bring this motherfucker to justice. He killed an unarmed black person for no reason. And we're angry. And people are like, well, you shouldn't be angry because the cop was just doing his job. Strangleholds are not their job.
You being mad at those individuals is righteous. But placing blame on the whole system could also be righteous. But at the same time, it's like it's more nuanced than that. It's more gray than that. It's not that black and white. It's
I would say it would be more gray if this system wasn't put into place for this. Officers was not another version of saying overseers. We've had officers in our lives forever, ever since slavery was started. So for me, I would be there's more gray areas if this wasn't an institution for me that was created to keep people of minorities down. Like the police originally were there just to kind of come and take people to jail, put them in cages and all this other stuff, and that was it. Now it's become this thing where police have become the judge, jury, and executioner, and they get off. So for me, if there wasn't like patterns of police brutality and police being
police are like weapons that
I gotta be 100% honest. I totally gotta agree with that. I've come to notice that like I was talking to somebody. And we were talking about police brutality and just like being black came up, and I remember she said something like almost to the effect of like, so like are people trying to get trying to get rid of the police altogether? Almost like basically like what I've come to realize is that like people have all this almost like this mental image of like, there was a good time of police, and now we're in the bad time of police.
No.
But we just need to get back to the good time of police because there was a moment in which, like, yeah, like we just had like cops and it was cool for everyone. And I'm just like, low-key, no.
There was never that time.
Yeah, the history is
but like
so
it's probably getting better though. If you look at the statistics,
it's not even that.
Look at the statistics. It's probably going. The trend is probably going.
But you gotta understand why the trend is going down. It's not going down because people are being taught that it needs to go down because people are actually being good people.
It's because of camera phones.
It's because of camera phones.
Yes.
But what's but how many percentage points are in an A? 10. How many percentage points are in a B? 10. How many are in a C? 10. Once you get into D and F, you're talking. I mean, what? So the D is the last 10. Once you get into F, that's 50%. So in other words, I could be failing doing 12%, and I'm moving into 13%. And they're talking about you're improving. It's like
but it's still an F.
20%. Yeah, I'm still waiting at. It's like so a growth trajectory is like bare minimum to me because we're talking about human beings.
And because it's literally because of the camera phones.
Now, awesome.
I would like to
see. But an organization as large as the police, like I said earlier, you're taking all comers, okay? You're taking people from the military. You're taking anybody who signs up.
But that's the point. We cannot do that with people we're giving guns
to. But they do give them psychological tests. They have IQ tests, and people below a certain IQ cannot even get in.
So I will give them points that they're taking on the worst of the worst of everyone who's around. But
maybe not the worst of the worst.
No, they're just taking all comers.
Yeah, they are
everybody
because they're
taking everybody.
It's cops.
They're taking on. They're going head to head.
Yeah,
exactly.
I thought you meant they were taking it.
Yeah, I like. Not assimilating the worst of the worst.
Not taking in the worst.
Probably that too, though.
Well,
maybe we'll see. Maybe that's a different topic. But anyway, so they're taking on the crime of an area. I'll give them points for that, but I give them no points for just saying, well, they're getting better. It's a group of humans. Awesome. Like, I feel like people saying that they're getting better is like them just saying out loud, oh yeah, it's not a bunch of rocks wearing uniform. Like, that's what people do.
Yeah.
They should get better. That is a
that's what I'm saying.
minimum of just human intelligence.
The fact
So
that
to me,
we're
that
asking
gives
them
no
not to
points for
kill
that.
us for no reason is a very low bar
Yeah,
for
that's
we're
a
asking us
low
to
bar
hit.
to me,
It's like,
just to
look,
say, like,
we're asking you not to kill people that have no intention of killing you. That's all we're asking you to do, because right now it seems like, one, most of them are black. And then on top of that, it seems like most of them are just being acquitted after that. So even after the whole crime is being done, these people are not being held accountable for their actions. And for the police, for something like the police, where it could easily go left, people's lives are in your hands, people's well-beings are in your hands, even the people, not just the people you arrest, the people that you are not arresting, the people that you're trying to protect. For a job like that, you cannot go through as light of training, and they have a psych eval, but their psych eval is very light. Very light.
You don't get to suck as long as other professions.
Exactly. Police, you can get
better good.
Exactly.
You better get better
really fast. So police, they can, like the dude that for George Floyd, he had 12 other racist and obsessive force charges brought up against him. Once you get to 3, bro, you out. 2, you're out, depending on what they are, bro. So in that, for them to say, hey, we don't have enough people, so we'll take all we can get, and all that we can get is racist ex-military people that aren't fully there still, because the military don't give people proper exiting.
I think there's
eval.
percentages of everyone in there.
There's percentage of everybody, but when you look at how militaries are treated when they get home, they're treated like shit, to be 1,000. Like the way we treat our military, and when they come home, we don't give them the proper demilitarization. Like, hey, you no longer have to be mentally ready to kill somebody at all times. You know, we don't give them that a proper, send off into actual civilian life.
I
so
think
now
they debrief them.
But there
is no real cure.
No,
I mean, there are some.
There is a way,
but
you
it's
can program
hard
somebody.
It's hard to help somebody get over PTSD.
But not even that.
It's not like,
not even just the PTSD. Just talking about deprogramming the need to kill somebody, or
that's PTSD.
But no, the PTSD is when you get the whole, all right, something happens and I'm like flash into it. Like I have like an episode. I'm talking about
you can have like varied levels of PTSD. Yeah. You can have light PTSD, or you can have like full on. I think I'm in a war zone PTSD.
No, not I think I'm in a war zone. Just the readiness to kill. Like I was just trained to kill somebody, and I might not even got deployed. So I thought I was about to go to Iraq and lay out some Iraqis because I just really wanted the license to kill, and I didn't even get to kill nobody. So now I'm trained to kill with no kills under my belt. Fuck it, I'm gonna be a police, and I can still
I don't
carry all the
know
guns.
because I have done no research on this, but I feel like the military probably weeds out people like that because you're on a team and you have an objective that you're trying to accomplish. So if you're just out there whacking niggas willy nilly, then it's like you're not accomplishing.
The military is like how you said with the police, just way worse because it's a bigger group. So, and we have to put you guys into Army, Marines, Navy SEALs, and this, that, and the other. Yeah. So what they do is they see where your head's at just to know what do we have to deprogram out of you. So if you're a thug, which most people, I'm going to the Marines.
I think those things are anything that goes against a team group dynamic.
They do a lot
because you need to be able to rely on the guy behind you to come in and lay down fire or whatever.
You're close, but it's not a team dynamic.
They weed out the people who are in there just to murder people.
It's not. No. It's not that they weed them out, and it's not a team dynamic. They deprogram people to think for themselves. Now you are programmed to accept orders and execute without questioning.
Yes, because in a firefight or in like a
you need to
if I say shoot over here, where it's like you come in and you need to sweep the room or whatever, you have to do your job.
You have to do your job, but your job
nothing else.
It does not include asking what room are we sweeping, why are we sweeping this room, who are the people in this room that I'm shooting. That is not in your job description. Just go into this building and shoot these people. I'm not telling you.
Clear the building.
Yeah, but that's
if there's enemy combatants in there.
Exactly. But you don't
deal with them.
You don't know who these enemy combatants are. All you know is, hey, sweep this building. If there's anybody in there, shoot them. Go in this building.
No, they don't tell them that. They don't tell them that.
I'm telling you, military people
if
are not trained.
If there's anyone in there, shoot them.
They don't tell them.
Okay,
I don't think they're training them at basic training to just like massacre people.
Oh, not massacre, but it's like, yo, go through here. This building is going to be filled with insurgents. Go through there. If anybody resists, wipe them out. What's resistance? Well, if they don't put their hands up and get on their face right away, shoot them.
No,
because you could get shot first, and that's the whole.
I don't know.
I don't believe that.
That seems really slippery.
I feel like when you see
the
training videos,
I watched American Sniper the other day, and they were clearing out rooms, and they were like, if you stood there with your arms up, they leave you alone.
That's what I'm saying.
They're like, all right, next room.
But that's what I'm saying. If they don't immediately put their hands up on some, hey, it's like, all right, cool. But if I come in the room,
they came into a room and a guy was kneeled down by the bed like he was about to grab something, and he was just standing there. And the guy was like, "Get your hands up, put your hands up." And the guy was just standing there, and then he's like, "Put your hands up." And then the guy comes up real fast, and he had a gun in his hands, and they shot him.
So that's what I'm saying.
So they will wait. They're trained to wait and to watch what you're doing.
I think
I don't think that a lot of them are walking around talking about trying to shut people down who have like an explicit narrative trying to say, I'm not trying to shoot innocent people. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, well, here you go with that, not trying to shoot innocent people.
Yeah,
shit.
No, I don't think that's going to be the narrative, but I just think that they're trained to like, hey, go to this building, preserve your brother's life, preserve this person's life, clear this building. And it's not necessarily like, hey, go through and preserve life, make sure everybody's okay. It is go through and clear this building. You know,
I think
so
when you're in a war zone, it gets really slippery and gray area.
But that's why
you can go in a room and it could be a woman there and she looks harmless and she pulls an AK or something out of somewhere and starts shooting, or a little kid or something. That's why I don't think they pull an AK out and start blasting.
That's why I don't think they teach gray areas. That's why they don't teach. Hey, distinguish between child and they don't call male insurgents. They don't call it Marine. They just call them insurgents.
Yeah,
or they call them whatever.
Because there's child soldiers that exist.
Exactly. So that's the thing. They're trying to deprogram. Hey, there's child soldiers out here that can kill you. So now you go to Iraq, you come back home from Iraq, or you come back home from South Africa or wherever you're tourist from, where you just seen a child with an AK try to kill your homeboy, and you
kill your homeboy.
He succeeds. Now you come home to America, where that's not the case. We're not in a rural land. We're not in a third world country anymore. But you still have that mentality because, like you said, you were debriefed but not deprogrammed. So now that you're in America and you still have this killer, I've seen some shit mentality, PTSD, when you're like, okay, I don't know what I need to do with my life now. I have all these guns. I have trained, military, da-da-da. All I feel like I can do is security or police work. So I'm going to go and do police work. And now you're in the field, back in Iraq, back in Sudan, wherever you're at, in your head, and you see a little kid on the street, you don't see little black Marcus, who's a football prodigy, that just so happens to have a cap gun or whatever it is and playing in the street with a clear orange tip. You just see child with a gun, shoot him, So since you weren't deprogrammed in the military, and then the police take whoever they want and they don't do proper training in real psyche evals, they do, like you said, they check people's IQs, and if it's under a certain number, which is not even like an adequate number, they don't let you do the rest of the course. But and then you can go and test again, and if you get a higher score, now you can be a police. So for me, the stages to become a police officer are very lackadaisical and should be more hectic. Even if the numbers are low, even if the drive to be a police is low, that is a job where we cannot take shortcuts. Like if I was an architect and I was building a skyscraper, I would not want to take shortcuts with the contractors I hired to do my building just because I need it done right away. I would rather just go and get the people to do it right.
But that's comparing apples.
But no,
to
it's the same. The thing is,
it's a different industry.
No, but I'm saying the job of putting a building that people have to rely to stand on, like people have to go through and walk up steps and take elevators. So they're relying on me to do my job correctly. So I can't take shortcuts in that job. Just like a police officer, we are relying on them to do their job correctly. So we cannot take shortcuts in hiring these people. We can't take shortcuts in bringing in the right officers to police the right areas. And they have to understand that your life being on the line is a part of the fucking job. Yeah. That is a part of the job. All this I was afraid for my life bullshit is out. That's out. I get it. You guys do have a right to go home to your families. You do have a right to survive. You do have a right to try to make it home. But at the same time, that comes after the job that you were sworn to do. That comes after that. Same thing with firefighters. Same thing with paramedics. That's why you see. So imagine if all the healthcare providers that we have right now went home because they were in fear for their life. And just nobody could go to the hospital. And that was a valid excuse for that profession. But imagine if all the firefighters wouldn't go run into fires and save your buildings and your heirlooms and people and their pets because they're in fear for their lives. That's a horrible excuse. But for some reason, the police feel like that is a valid reason to let somebody with a gun shoot somebody with no weapon at all. And that was literally just upset that there would be people are going to be upset for being arrested. And when you look at the way that cops arrest people,
some police,
some. No, I'm just talking about when people get arrested, they're gonna be angry. Like I'm really getting arrested for what? People are gonna get, especially if they feel like they're getting arrested for no reason. And then when you watch the way that some police arrest people, how violent, how arrogant, how aggressive they are with it.
Yeah.
Of course, people are gonna fight back against it. Some people are trying to pull people's arms.
Don't fight. I say don't fight.
I know you say don't fight.
Do not fight.
I know you say don't fight. But I'm saying like people's natural, like okay. So with
don't
Rodney King,
have that.
Hold on. So wait, no, you
don't do that.
You can't say that because
it's a person with a gun.
No,
don't do that.
You can't say that. Like I said,
don't buck him.
No, just because he has a gun, he can't act a certain way. He has a taser. He has.
You can say that, but in real life, if he pulls that gun and shoots you,
then he's
wrong.
He's in the wrong.
But in real life. Who cares about right or wrong?
But that's my point.
If he shoots you and he kills you,
that's what I'm saying. I give him. That's what I'm saying. The person.
No. I'm saying like in real life, when you're really in the situation.
Yes.
But that's.
And there's a cop with a gun, and you can tell that he's a scary cop.
But that's my point. We should not have scary cops. That is my exact.
But
point.
I agree. We should not. But in real life, we do. There's a percentage of them that are scary. There's a percentage of them that are racist. There's a percentage of them that are cool or whatever. It's a roll of the dice of which one you're gonna get.
But that's what I'm saying.
So it's better to hedge your bets and just be like, you know what? Whatever you say, I'm gonna comply with. But my lawyer is gonna, I'm gonna get out of this later.
But like I said,
I'm not gonna. No, you're not gonna.
Okay, but look, even
and
like
then
I said,
the guy, he has a gun, and he's afraid that if you elbow him or you catch his jaw the right way, he's knocked out, and his gun is right there.
This is the with Fernando Philando. See, I fucked it up. I didn't want to say Philando Castile. There was no aggressive behavior going on at all. He literally told him, "I have my gun on me, just so you know."
There's going to be the cases where no matter what you do, that cop has it out for you, or has it out for someone.
That's my point.
He's looking to kill someone.
But
yes, there's a percentage of them who are psychopathic murderers who made it through the psyche valve, who just made it through. But you don't want to encounter one of those and not know whether or not he's murderous or not, and you are already hyped up on some you're not about to arrest me today, nigga type shit.
That's the point. How come they get to be super aggressive? So we have to let them get this leeway of you're allowed to be super aggressive when you approach me, but I have to bow the knee when you
don't. But you can buck them, or you can elbow them or hit them or fight them off, but just be ready for when they fucking pull that gun and they start shooting or whatever.
Most of the time, but that's what I'm saying. Most of the time,
they should not. I think they should not be able to do that. But
that's what I'm saying.
Some of them are crazy.
I totally agree with that. But in the same tone that people have when they're like, when they have this almost like it's consequential from them. It's mechanical that if you're being arrested by the cop and you do something reasonable, but it makes him feel uncomfortable. You shouldn't do that reasonable thing so that he stays more comfortable so that you don't lose your life. Sure, maybe that's mechanical. Maybe he shouldn't do that for his own health, but at the same time, it's mechanical.
Exactly.
That the people that he lives in, that the society group that he has, is eventually going to boil over with anger because they cannot have a regular life and regular existence.
If I feel like I can't walk down the street, I'm gonna get mad every time you pull me over.
It's just as consequential. I'm like,
and I can understand your anger.
That's what I'm saying.
But all I'm saying is, if you're dealing with a cop, who's mad or whatever, just don't be antagonistic.
But that's my point. We can't even
be reasonable, like he said. You can be reasonable, or
even, But like you said,
I
even
agree. To me, that's just a separate conversation.
but like I said, even though you said
like there's a fire, you could stoke the fire, or you could just relax and let it
the point.
sizzle.
Even if you relax and let it sizzle, you can still in the case of the police, there's too many cases where we have to be the one controlling the situation, which is wrong.
Yeah. Plus, also,
it is wrong. I agree.
When you're at the conference, it's talking about building techniques of new materials that are flame retardant and stuff like that. They don't get up on the stage and go, "Now don't smoke indoors."
Yeah, you just shouldn't smoke indoors. Create some shit where if I smoke indoors, you need to be able to put this shit out.
It's like we'll get to the behaviors, but for me, that's why I said that's a separate conversation versus how should we design our society so that we have better outcomes.
It's like
I don't think we are consciously designing our society. I think it's kind of like
I think our
evolution. It's like evolving on its own, kind of like a organism. Like we're not really guiding it.
I think it's
really.
Both. I think half of it's being.
I think
it's being guided
social
into
media
a certain way.
and technology is kind of guiding it because we have phones and we can record things now, and that's what's kind of guiding it.
That's what I feel.
But not really. It's not us. It wasn't like a black revolutionary who made phones and was like,
no.
We're going to record all the police violence with these phones.
I'm going to say
it was just natural, like a natural occurrence of things that happened.
I'm going to say it was in reverse, as in everything that's happening to us was planned. Like everything as far as the systemic racism of over policing, us being in overpopulated police, all that was planned and designed, and all that makes, our history like that. The creation of the camera phone, the social media being created, that took it off course, which is creating this new variable that wasn't expected before. I think it was already going in that direction, but social media kind of just sped it up really fast because you have cameras and you have the network set up to. That's what I'm saying. I feel like social
distribute videos.
I feel like if there was no such thing as a camera phone, we would still be getting our
social media.
Even in social media, we would still getting our ass beat and having to pass out pamphlets to let people know about shit that's going on in our neighborhood, which still would live us in. Yeah, so I don't
think that would be happening. I think that if that was still happening, that you would have more organizations like the Black Panthers.
We would, but that's what I'm saying. How would we get our communication out there, and how would we know what was true versus
how they did it back then before we had social media?
But that's what I'm saying. That's the pamphlets.
It would be like that.
They would be passing out pamphlets, and that's at
but there would be groups of black people or people from the neighborhood who patrol the community and make sure that the police aren't. Because that's what the Black Panthers and the Bloods and the Crips were at first.
Yeah, that's how
they were making sure the police weren't beating up brothers and killing brothers.
And then you saw what they
did. So
it
would be like that.
They turned them into a terrorist organization now to the point where if I say that I am a Black Panther, I am immediately put into the same category as ISIS. If I say I'm
like there's no getting around the fact that eventually you're going to have a technological improvement around your information. Around your information distribution. You can even call that technical improvement a gang of people who are standing outside protecting the newspaper guys. He's handing out newspapers.
Exactly. We needed our own media outlet.
You're gonna have to secure your information.
That's why the Nation of Islam has their own paper that they put out where they go get their information from. We're not gonna read.
Maybe it's not social media, but nonetheless, it's like social media fills the space that was needed in better information
and getting it to people quickly.
That's why to me, the way I like to think about it is
internet in general.
It's almost like an avalanche, and we're surfing down that avalanche. There's a bunch of other people surfing down the avalanche, and the avalanche is so old. We weren't even alive when it started. Our parents were on it, surfing down it, and our kids will be on it, surfing down it as well. So some of it's mechanical, but then some of it is it's easiest to talk about it like that in the biggest of scales, but as we get closer to our individual contribution, then it's more. I feel like it tends to more lend itself towards talking about as far as roles that we're fulfilling ourselves now. So being the voice of a group of people who are frustrated about a police issue that's been going on for so long, and stuff like that. But to me, I kind of feel like it's driven both, like it's driven by us and it's driving us in what we're doing. I feel like it's like a even back and forth, but it's super intertwined with each other. I feel like all this stuff it almost can't be separated from each other. You know, for me, it's incredibly hard for me to see this issue being here where it's at now without social media and without body cam.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The fact that we had to do so much just to get a body cam to hold people accountable for their action, and they're still not being held accountable for their action, is an issue. You know, the whole point is not, well, niggers need to act better and police won't shoot them. That is not the issue. We've already shown that no matter what you do, if a cop, like you said, is out to get you, they're going to get you no matter if you have your hands up, if you're running away.
Psychopath cops.
Even if it's...
who are able to
game
the system and get
just,
through boot camp and all that stuff.
I don't even think it's psychopathic cops. I think it's one, bad policing intake. And two, it's just
you can't read someone's soul when they're doing a psyche eval. It only can evaluate so much.
You can evaluate enough to say this dude doesn't need to be on the field.
They can display one set like person to you, and then once they get into a situation, they can turn to another.
That's why you need.
There was a psychological study that they did. They grabbed random people from a population right at this college, random people, and they made them come in and become prison guards. And they had to watch people, and they all turned violent.
But you know why that was the case? Because none of those people received training. All they did was put them into a room and said, "You're the prison guards. You're the prisoners. Do what you want." All of them did turn violent. I watched the movie. I watched the actual film too. Yeah. So they turned violent for the exact same reason. They received improper training on how to do their job. Exactly. So all of a sudden they became.
I feel like that shows like the base level of human interaction with each other. That's sometimes not even most of the time is just it can devolve into violence if there is.
But I don't think that's each other. That was a social experience of I have power, you don't. You know, you do what I say when I say it.
I feel like you're saying the very crux of what like I feel like I'm trying to say, which is that every situation could devolve into a bad thing if the situation isn't structured properly.
Exactly. Like, which the police is not structured
so
properly.
that's why that's why we're talking about the system, the system's structure and how it's set up so that it can have better outcomes. I don't know. I feel like in a way it's like the very thing that you're talking about like has what I'm saying of like you like I feel like you have to design the situation. I feel like
to change the outcome and to change the system would be so hard because I feel like the police, they were created to catch black people and catch slaves and shit at first, but they evolved into the force that protects the rich people's assets. So that's what they are now. And to say that we need to evolve them away from that, it's like you would have to change our economy to do that.
Yeah, change it.
And that's not going to happen.
You need to change it.
It's not going to happen.
I think changing the system is easy, but I think getting the outcome you want may be hard.
It is.
I don't think changing the system is easy.
I don't think so either. I think all of this is going to be very difficult, but it's necessary.
Let's put it this way. I think George Floyd changed the system just by dying in the footage and everyone's reaction. The people's reaction. I feel like.
I wouldn't define that as easy.
So, it's not easy at all. But also, the people who witnessed the footage, their reaction is a change in the system. That's why I say I think it's just the outcome. I feel like it's the more complex thing because I feel like there's a bunch of people. Everyone's contribution is a change to the
I think
system
that every
always
time it happens, it's changing the system.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
that we have social media and we have cameras, and that it gets blown up to such a national world level that it's like, you know, people see that and that's visceral. If you see it, you're gonna feel a certain way and you're gonna feel like this is happening everywhere all the time a lot.
And that kind of leaves you with an outcome of like we still see that racism has like a strong prevalence in society. And it's like, do you as a person seeing that want to continue that, or do you want that to change into something else? So then you do some stuff to interact with the system, but it doesn't just give you, we don't have a racism lever for society. So that's where we can just turn it off. I have to go do political action, and then that's going to change something. And change something.
That's what I'm saying. It's not as black as white as we should just change the system, and that will change the way the police us. It's like you're always gonna have people who can game the system and get in and become whatever they want to become. They're gonna start being on the tape. They're gonna start stealing money from crime scenes.
But that's okay. But that's
selling drugs, whatever.
So I agree with that. But the only problem about the way that I feel like it's been about saying it that way is that you then so you can't have a perfect outcome through changing the system, right? So you do whatever minor tweaks you can to the system. Something changes, it makes you make some kind of headway or something like that. So, but then when it comes time to make that change for the system, then we go, well, even if you change the system, you're never going to get to the perfect place.
We're not asking for perfect.
Like, exactly.
We're asking for at least fair.
We are out here trying to optimize, not trying to talk about making one change to the system that's then going to have some kind of perfect outcome. I don't think that you can. I personally don't think that you can even cure. I do not think you can cure all racial issues through politics.
Nope. I don't think you can cure all racial issues. Period.
I don't think it. Yeah, that is.
I think you can.
I think both of you guys were there when I had a conversation. I think you said it. We had a discussion where we were saying a long time ago. We were like, do you think racism will be 100% cured at any point? And I think you said yeah. I said no. I think that it will become a point where it's unpopular. Yeah. So if you're like, it's getting to that point now. I think that there will still be somebody that.
I don't think it would happen, but I think that there's a way that it could be cured.
No, I think that it's. No matter what, there will always be somebody in the world that thinks that they're better than somebody else because of their race.
Really quick, let's
define. Okay, cured. I'm thinking cured as to where nobody, like how nobody has the Black Plague no more. That is cured. Right. If there is one person that has a racist bone in their body out of the millions in America, it's not cured.
I feel like racism, like many other ideas, are memes. Which is, it's like a mind parasite.
So then what do you mean by curing racism?
Do you mean that nobody will be
like
racist?
A mind virus that is produced by our economy and the way we live around each other.
Sure. So
if our economy was different, if we all, like, let's say, like, if there was different groups of people, like you have scientists, the scientist group, you have the artist group, you have the farming group, you have the archaeological group, like different groups of people who you could go learn those different things. And if we had an access economy where, like, if you needed access to food or you needed access to cars and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of racism is bred from like envious feelings, where it's like, oh, I don't like you really because you're faster than me, or you're stronger than me, or you're smarter than me, or whatever. But I can't say that because society was going to make me feel bad about it. Or so I have to.
For me, that's why I feel like it's not curable, though.
Exactly. It's not something.
No, I think that in the future, it's going to be like, or in this possible future, it will be everyone would have something that they focus on, or they will be able to, pursue things without having to worry about, paying rent or, just miscellaneous stuff that stresses you all day long. So a lot of bullshit jobs where it's like, you really don't need to go to work and punch the clock and do this, but you have to because you have to earn a check to pay rent. If we had less bullshit in our economy and in our lives and stuff, I feel like you would see a lot less of the class tension and class struggle and people being mad about, your people own my people. We'll be so far past that people will be focused on other things.
So this is what I have to say about that. That might solve a lot of issues
We'll be focused on getting to space.
No.
We'll be focused on building colonies in space. We wouldn't be focused on racism. Like, it'd be like that'd be so below us by that point.
Here we go. So I feel like that would solve issues on a grand scale, such as job payment stuff. Like we'd all get paid fairly, so we're not blaming. Well, I don't get paid today. So
it will be beyond pay. It will be like
that's what I'm saying.
If I want access to a fast car, I can just go print one.
You can go get it. Okay, understand
easy.
That. I get that. You can go print one and you can go do all that stuff as far as accessing material things that are just accessible to everybody. But in the end, there are still going to be minor things in everybody's individual lives that are going to set off people on racist attack. Todd might not like the fact that Jamal fucked his girlfriend. Not even because of what he had, just because she wanted to go fuck him. So now he all of a sudden hates niggas, and he's teaching his children to hate niggas because of something that happened.
I feel like if you're in the future where you promote certain types of mind ideas that are better than others, and people can naturally see that those other ideas are not as good as the ones that you're promoting, then it's gonna be natural that you're not even gonna want that. Like you're not even gonna want someone else's woman, or it's not gonna be like that.
No, hear that. So this is my deal. So it's like
I never answered that question. So really quick. So to
or
define
it could not be.
So to define what I mean by cure racism is, I'm gonna go more aligned with what Spot was saying, which is so for me to say that it's cured, that means at a certain point in the future, 2040, no person in the world
does racist shit.
Thoughts.
Exactly.
Does racist shit.
I feel like we could get to that point.
I don't think we'll ever could.
So,
I think we can get to a point
because we're gonna get to a point.
So could we get there? Is that physically possible? Yes. Do I think it's
That's what
probable? I think incredibly no.
No,
just
that's my answer as well.
In the same way, in the same way that religions don't really die, you got people who still believe in Greek mythology and still worship Zeus to this day. And you can sit there and go, well, like, what about the last 1,000 years? And they didn't just move on to another religion? And it's like, no, they still think that. I think you're going to find small pockets of people who still
That's
think
what I'm
racist
saying.
Yeah,
in a realistic environment.
Get some tools that reduce it, down to a super low percentage. But some people are going to
still be racist. That's racist. In a realistic environment, like for me, like, okay, so even if we wrote out, this is how we're going to end racism, short of implanting chips in people's heads that makes it impossible to do racist shit or have racist thoughts, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I think we're going to get to the point where we're close to now where being racist is unpopular instead of, so people will still be privately and closeted racist, and they might only hire white people at their mom and pop shop. But when they go out in public, they're going to promote Black Lives Matter. They're going to talk about, my black friend. They're going to do this stuff because that's what we're trying to see right now. If all these companies and all these video games that are putting Black Lives Matters on their shit, is this just they're doing it now so they don't get ridiculed for, well, y'all didn't help black people when we need you, and we give you our black dollars. So I think at a point in the future,
they probably have black employees there.
They probably have black employees, but this is the point of, do they really care to the point where they're putting out this statement to bring light to the issue, or are they putting out this statement to cover their ass? Because they don't, right now, everybody that's not black is being put under a microscope. And I don't like it personally as a black man. I don't like.
You could never really know though.
You could never really know. I personally, as a black man, I don't like this climate right now where we're forcing white people to say shit. Because I really want to know who doesn't want to say shit and who doesn't, or who doesn't want to say shit and who does. Like, I genuinely want to see, like, yo, who wants to promote Black Lives Matter? Who doesn't? Like, who really does think Donald Trump is a great president? Who really think? Yeah, like, I really want to see who. Oh yeah, you enjoy it a lot. Like, look, I'm sitting there. I'm like, look, I know half of y'all are on some bullshit. I literally know more than, like, not more than half. I'd say about like 40 to 20% of y'all are on some bullshit. So for me, it's like of all these people that are not of color posting these Black Lives Matter posts. A lot of these right now, the climate is we're condemning anybody that's not helping. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to do that, because now we're getting people to come in and donate money and give help that are not necessarily helpful and normally don't give a fuck about black people. Like right now, if I hear that Marky Mark does anything for Black Lives Matter, I'll be like, you lying son of a bitch. Like honestly, because like Marky Mark has so many racial incidents in his background that if he all of us like the NFL coming out with a statement.
If you feel like if you're Marky Mark and you feel like donating some money and turning over a new leaf, I'm like you should be allowed to evolve your character.
But that's what I'm saying. You would have to show a pattern. Marky Mark has not shown one pattern of fucking with black people.
But if he started to,
if
he put in the work,
but that's what I'm saying.
It's like, hey, you donated the money, hey, all right, or you said something, all right.
Right now, I'm not seeing a lot of people starting to show that incline of like, yeah, man, like 2 years ago, I started to see this shit. The only person I really,
but I don't feel like they should have to do it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm feeling like right now we're forcing. I feel like right now we're forcing most white people to say some shit that either aren't ready, aren't educated.
I personally don't feel like we're for. I don't know.
I literally see people putting out poison. White silence is violence. Like, yo,
I think
let them not say
and
shit.
I feel like you're going.
I agree with that statement, and also I personally do not believe that social pressure is the same as actually forcing people to. Mm-hmm. I think if you see a bunch of white people and they're all talking about Black Lives Matter, even if they start shaming you, I don't think that's forcing them because at the end of the day,
no.
Gotta do that shit.
Not that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about getting them to
socially coercing.
I'm not talking about just getting them to have a conversation about Black Lives Matter. I'm saying you saying all these random white people that I have never had a conversation about race, improper treatment about the police. I've never seen them post anything about anything racially motivated, politically motivated at all. All of a sudden posting a black square on their page and have this long thought out paragraph about how they've always been a part of, I have black friends and as a person that did it. First of all, we've never had this fucking conversation. As a black man.
That's cool with me though.
But I'm like, I
fine. That's
all right.
But for me, in that situation, I don't demand less for them. I want more.
Like,
I
okay,
want that and more.
But my thing is,
I don't even want more from them.
No,
that's
my thing
cool
is,
right
I don't want that
there.
energy.
I'm like, all right.
I don't want that energy for social media. I want that energy in real life. Like, don't give me that. So
I'll take both. I'm greedy.
That's my That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna give me both, that's fine. But a lot of these people are just putting out this energy for
real
social
life, though. If
No.
you say some racist shit on your social
They're gonna
media,
they're
you
gonna
will
put it
be
on your-
fired.
No, I know.
People
but
have lost their incomes
But I'm not
off
talking.
social media.
I'm not talking about putting racist shit. I'm talking
It's
about
very real.
I'm not talking about putting racist shit because that's one thing. I'm talking about you now defending black people out of nowhere because you feel like
But your
if I
social,
don't defend them,
your social media presence is almost like a copy of you.
No,
it's just the online version of you.
No, literally, I disagree
So
with
if you wanna go out on a limb and become a social warrior
online,
online, that's cool too, man. Do your thing.
I think social media is not a version of you. I think social media is the best version of you that you want to put out there.
I don't think that.
I think so.
Sure, but
I think you.
Hold on.
I think you can manipulate. You can manipulate the version. You can make it the best or the worst.
But that's what I'm saying. But who do you see on Instagram really promoting the work? Okay, we got the body. Even when you're promoting stuff that you may think is poor, or it's always done in a positive light. So with women that normally when people would see big girls is, oh my God, no, they turned it around and turned into, you guys are not going to body shame me. This is body appreciation. I'm going to put this up normally where people would put up, I'm overweight, watch my weight decline. You know, I'm doing a weight loss journey. Other women put up their weight and like, this is me. And I'm positive about my weight. Right. So your Instagram is always going to be you trying to display your best self. There are rare occasions where you see them 13-year-old girl. Hold on, wait.
That's more image based.
This is what I'm talking about. The main source of image right now is Instagram. Twitter's kind of dying out, so it's Instagram and TikTok right now is the main places where you're receiving your social media presence, and people go to see what you really think. People really don't even go to your Twitter no more to see what you think. They only go there when they're driven there. People have to post pictures on their Instagram of their Twitter for you to go there. But when you have this social presence, even on my Instagram, I put on there
for the grimy shit.
Yeah. So when I put on my Instagram, this is not an accurate depiction of my real life because I'm not posting when I'm in the studio depressed because I'm like, fuck, I can't create a song.
This is just the
that I want to.
Finsta.
Yeah, this is just the shit that I want you guys to see. I don't post me masturbating at 2 a.m. Be like, this is my life. This is what I do. Get to know me. Like, you know, so I'm only posting. I post the picture of me with Shorty to be like, I be fucking shorties. I be in some guts, you know. So like, you're promoting your best self on Instagram. You're not promoting.
Yeah, you can promote a faulty version of yourself.
But that's what I'm saying.
Even that,
So-
that's saying something about your character, about you.
But
So you
that's-
are
mhm.
still posting you. Like,
But
that's
you're
you.
posting a false version of you. So now if you're posting false versions of you, you're only posting your best angles from your best side when you're full face makeup.
People can
and then,
tell that though.
No, some people. And
No, most people can look. You can go to a person's Instagram, and if they got all pictures of themselves in a mirror or whatever, you're like, okay, this person's narcissistic.
some people will look at them like she's gorgeous because that's what her Instagram
That's
is
because
for.
they're naive.
But even then, we're gonna go
Full
with.
naive people out
There's a
there.
lot of naive people out there. So when you go out there and these people see this woman that has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, she's a makeup page. All of a sudden, put up a black square to say something about Black Lives Matter, and then after that, the next 6 posts she puts is back to makeup. So for me, that
That's
says.
fine for
Right,
me.
right.
But no,
you don't have to become black
again,
revolutionary
okay, I
after
get that, I
something
get that.
happens for
That's
me.
why I say I
You don't
want
have to
more.
do it.
But
I want
exactly,
that post.
exactly.
I don't need
want
more.
But that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't
No,
need
I
more.
need more. I don't need the
More
post.
is almost weird to me.
No, I don't need
because
the post.
if I'm coming to your page
Post,
for
post.
airplane pictures and then you just flip and become black revolutionary page pictures, I'm like, this is not really you, my nigga.
But that's
I know
so
it's not
that's
you.
my point. That's my
Like,
point.
this is weird.
But
actually,
that's my point. Even that split second of black solidarity is weird for me because right now we don't need halfway warriors. We don't need Minutemen. We don't need people that are gonna come in because it's popular to defend black people and then dip out when it's
and I
not
feel like
popular
that's
no more.
what you would be asking them to do if they just kept posting just
that's why I
black.
said
I don't know. I guess I'm
black
more,
stuff.
I guess
It's
I'm
like-
more optimistic about what you can do as far as like crowdsourcing different people's will and their effort, even if they're not all exactly lined up with the same thing. Because I feel like for any movement in which you have like a very specific thing that you want to do, it's incredibly hard to keep everyone on that same page. And I feel like a well-designed movement is a movement that can leverage all of the kind of like fraction alternative version viewpoints of whatever it is that you're talking about, and still bring them into the fold to then leverage their power.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people
feel
are
like
doing
that's
it. I
the-
feel like with the random black square, everybody's like, why the fuck are you posting this out of nowhere? Like you said, I came to this page to see some ass jiggling, and now I got to deal with this Black Lives Matter post from this Russian chick. You know, so it's like now people are getting the wrong interpretations. They get angry because they're not getting what they're getting
What's
in
the
from
wrong
me.
interpretation?
No, no, like, so-
what's the
so
wrong
for me,
interpretation
like-
of trying to go and go to some venue for whatever thing, and you go there and then you're inconvenienced and you have to see like, oh, here's this Black Lives Matter thing, which is the entire point of the protest in the first place,
exactly.
which is to inconvenience you to get the message
Get the
out.
message across.
So like for me, that awkwardness is the very thing.
My
that
thing
you're
is talking
looking to
about
do in the
once
first
that
place.
post, what happens, like my mom's been asking me, what's next? So after this post, as an individual, everybody that's posted a black square on Instagram, what's next?
That's
So
what,
like, so that's my point.
that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
so-
I'd rather them
I'd rather you
post
not
that
po-
one black square, and then in their real life they go out and they actually do something
that's
to
what I'm-
affect change.
But that's what I'm talking about. A lot of
then
those people
all
that are-
they do is change their page and become an online revolutionary, and that's all they do
But
is post
that's what I'm saying. I'm
pics
saying
about the struggle or
my
stuff about
thing
the
is,
struggle.
I don't even want those fucking pics. Like, if you're really not about the struggle for real, like if some shit popped off and we can't rely on you to come out of your social media page to actually do some shit, and I'm talking about more than just marching, because most of these people are marching for an Instagram photo, let's be honest. I'm talking about, like, if we actually need you to go out in the street and help us do some major league work, right? Something that we already know is going to work, or even something that we don't know is going to work, but this is
feel like
our last
blogs-
straw. A lot of these people wouldn't go out and help us. Like, yo, social media is down. Instagram is down. We need real people to come and help us storm the White House. Not on some violent shit, but we just want to make our presence known. This is not going to be... They shut down Instagram, so we can't have this freedom of pressing what's going on. Will you still come out? A lot of people are like, well, I mean, I'm going to go to the gym and take some Instagram photos for my Finsta. And they really won't be with us. So for me, I'm like, okay, look, I'd rather y'all not perpetrate this shit. I get that you're helping us put this message out. I get what you're saying, Rob. I get that you guys are helping us put this message out and other people see us. But what the problem is that I'm starting to get the impression that I can call on you if I need you. And if I can't really call on you when I need you, I'd rather you not put that.
Say, just don't make that assumption.
Yeah, I would not make that assumption.
Leverage their perpetrating. Mm-hmm. Just leverage the benefit of their perpetrating and don't over assume how far they're actually going to go with
yes.
it.
But that's my
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. I would take the black square. I take that. Give me that. I'm cool with that.
More.
Yes. Give me the black square. I'm fine with that.
But that's what I'm saying. For me, I'm like,
I don't need more. I don't need more because I don't need you to become some fake revolutionary online.
I'm not asking for.
You could post that one square and then go out to your community and actually enact
that's what I'm asking
change.
I'm not asking for.
I, Lelouch V. Virginia, will use your revolutionary sentiment to get my means. If that gets me to my lesson, I will leverage
but see, that's
your
my
white
thing.
guilt to get me to where I need to be. I will ride you like a surfboard into freedom.
I think, okay, so if I were to have a white friend post the black square but not join the marches, I'd be hot. If I had a white friend that was at every single march but was like, look, bro, I just don't feel like posting a black square on my page, I'd be like, my nigga, you better not.
I'd be cool
if
with
anybody
people.
says shit to you, I will go on their page. They're like, this motherfucker's out here marching with me. Fuck y'all. He don't need to post no black square. It's like Kendrick.
Both of those people are cool in my book.
Everybody's on Kendrick's head right now. Like, well, Kendrick hasn't said anything. Kendrick hasn't. Like, nigga, like as if he hasn't given us 3 albums already of this shit. As if he hasn't talked to us about. As if he didn't do the performance at the Grammy that was already addressing this shit. So we don't need to hear from Kendrick. We know how Kendrick feels. He's been talking about this shit for a cool ass minute. It's like, you both were there when my page used to be super black power and like everything was just black oriented and black. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. And this was way before. This was still in the Good Luck Charlie days. Cause like I'm like, yo, all right, cool. Blackity black black. Everything I do is black 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 black. And for a cool minute, I'm sitting there like, ain't nobody really, listening. I get the occasional. White supremacists coming in trying to argue with me on my post. And I'm like, I'm cool. I accept all that. I used to love that. And then after a while, I'm like, I don't want my image online to be just all blackity black, 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 black if my life doesn't reflect all blackity black, 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 black. So at that moment,
That's why I don't post that much. But no, I'm still trying to decide what I want the online version of me to look like.
I'm like, look,
that's why I don't like posting.
On my online shit, I went through and took everything down. Not just the black post. I took down everything that it just wasn't like, look, at the very core of me.
Dick pics.
Yeah, I removed all the dick pics and all that. So I was like, yo, at the very core of my being, who am I? I'm an artist. I'm a creative. So all my page is gonna be is me creating. Yes, I'm a black man. Yes, I'm going through.
I'm just a kid with this.
I'm just a kid with it.
Meat rocket.
With this motherfucking 12-foot log with this baby. I'm not about to put that shit out there. Shorty be like, fact check, bitch. But I'm like,
no.
It says on Wikipedia, nigga. Nah, but like, literally at the core of my being, I'm a creative. So like, I was like, I'm not about to I would rather people come and talk to me to see how I really am in real life. Like, I want people to legitimately have to come up and talk to me. Like, yeah, he's like this online. Yeah, he posts pictures of himself with his shirt off, and every once in a while he'll do some like stupid shit on his story. But when you talk to him as a person, it's way different. Most of the girls that I end up talking to when I date do that. They're like, when I met you, I never thought our conversations were going to be what they were. Based on how I dress or how I acted or who they met me with, depending on if they met me and they were just basing me off of my appearance. They're like, I thought you were just some everyday, ordinary LA nigga. You
I thought you were just some uneducated sir. You are way smarter than you look.
I get hit with like, yo, you're way smarter than I thought you'd be. So like, I get the equivalent of like, You're gorgeous for a dark skinned man. Like that's my shit. Like I get the equivalent of you're smart for a nigger. Like I'm like, yo, please stop talking.
You speak so well for someone this low on the color.
Literally, like yo, like you were very educated. You use words like da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, because I fucking read. I like to know shit. But it's like, they do their perception, and then after they meet me, they're like, okay, you're completely different than what I thought you were. I see why you do some of this shit you do. It makes sense. Like, when I see you do shit on Instagram, I'm like, okay, I know you're always in the studio because you're always in the studio. This is not you trying to put on a facade like, oh, nigga, I'll just stay in the studio. You are literally always in the studio. When I talk to you, I see the reason why you're able to laugh at certain people and you're able to laugh with certain people. So I like people seeing the real, genuine me and acting off of that. And that's why my page is kind of bland and boring, because it's kind of like, look, you're going to get the very, like, if you were to describe me to somebody else, this is what I would want you to describe. As far as all I know is Spot, he's an artist. Yep. But for the most part, it's just, I feel like people's social media presence is the best self that they're trying to portray. And I get it. I just want their real life to back up everything that they're putting on social media. So if you want to portray you're the baddest bitch, when I see you in person, I need you to always be the baddest. I can't see you like have a down day, because on your Instagram, you're always the baddest. And if you want to use your Instagram like your real life, you have to follow it. So that's why I put on my Instagram is not an accurate depiction of my real life. You think you're going to come and see me at the studio and all I'm going to be doing is working every second of every day? No. You might come in there and I just finished the song, or I haven't done shit all day. That's just how it is, But I might have posted a song that I finished yesterday.
I don't think people should have to live by the ethics that they put on their Instagram.
You're right, but I just wish it was closer.
Appreciate people willing to at least put a black square in a quote or whatever on their Instagram just to show a little support. You don't have to, turn into the black revolutionary online, or
you know what?
You don't even have to go to the protest.
See, for me,
if you have a
I
different
want every white person that can hear me speaking right now to piggyback the closest black person.
I want every white under the sound of my voice to donate $50 to a black right now.
I saw some posts like that on Twitter.
I want every white person right now
I
to
saw some posts like that on Twitter.
Venmo me $200 for the Black Reparation Fund, you whites.
I saw some posts.
Yes.
Y'all making jokes, but I literally saw a post like that.
Every white needs to bow down and kiss the foot
I
of
seen
each
white
black
people
in there.
bowing down and kissing people's hands and feet. I'm like, that's weird to me.
No, we don't need that.
I don't want that.
Just give me some money.
All I want is equal treatment.
That is literally all
under
we're telling people.
the law.
We are not asking for no fucking handouts. We're not asking to take over and we're not asking for white slavery. We're not asking for, all we are asking for.
I am. If y'all have that trail,
Hey, just low, big facts. Literally
Free
all
trail mix?
Yo, run it. All we are asking.
That out.
Hand out the trail mix for real. If y'all got the fucking fruit roll ups, the one that's, no, we'll get to it later. But
A truly and a white claw? Oh, pass that right over
My
here.
way.
is this a seasonless sandwich? Oh, you know what I want. You know how to get to my heart.
Is that butternut squash?
No, for real. All I want from my white counterparts, we're gonna get into other races, I feel like, later, because that's a whole different conversation for us. But from our white counterparts, all I would personally like to see is action. Personally, I appreciate the squares. I'm not gonna say they're not appreciated, even though some of them are met with some skepticism from me. I will admit, I don't give a fuck. A lot of y'all I'm looking at like, but what really has had me, and I'll admit it, shed some gangster tears over the past week, like really had me like choked up, was seeing how many non-black people were at these protests, like Paris and Germany. How many like of these other countries had protests?
Global event.
It's a global event, and we're seeing
I'm seeing people in Iraq. Like,
Iraq.
you in a war zone, and you
how seeing all these people of non-black people protest that Black Lives Matter, and not even just like, oh, let's do this for the people. This is literally just for Black people. To see those people all come together as, for me as a Black male, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way because you guys are my age, but I don't know if you feel the same way. But I feel like our culture was very big on men, especially Black men, don't talk too much. Like, you're not allowed to talk too much. You're not allowed to express yourself. Crying is out. Telling people that you're sad, that shit's out. You know, like I tell people all the time, I was born in the last generation where being able to say, "Oh, that shit's gay," was okay, and nobody was on some you know, "Oh, look, how dare you say that?" You know, this was the very last generation where people would compliment you expressing your feelings by saying, "Oh, that's gay." You're telling somebody how you feel, that's gay. So, coming from that background where you weren't allowed to express yourself, and you know, but a lot of shit is happening to you, and you're not allowed to be or at least you felt like you weren't allowed to express, yo, I don't like this. This hurts. You know, some shit might happen to you with a girlfriend or something, and you might want to tell your homeboys, yo, bro, this hurt. But it felt weird because, yo, we're not supposed to be sitting here crying, and I'm not supposed to get played by females. To develop from that to go to about my 20s, 19s, and getting dealt with by the police and getting all these unfair treatment and starting to notice racism more in my life, feeling like I really didn't matter and having to go home and kind of hype myself up, and that's where my cockiness came from, of feeling like when I'm around these other people, I'm just here to be a trained monkey, or when I'm around these other people, this is how they perceive me. Or when I'm around this group of people, I really don't matter to them. I'm only here for this specific reason. Other than that, if I died tomorrow, they wouldn't give a fuck. To go from that to see all these people marching, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people marching that aren't Black, that have never felt an inch of my struggle, that have never, kind of been in my shoes, march and scream at the top of their lungs that my life matters. Scream at the top of their lungs that my life is important to them, that I'm valued, even though they don't fucking know who I am. They don't know me from Tom, the next nigga they're marching from. You know, no matter what I did, even if I am thuggish, even if I am urban, ghetto, I still matter. That, to me, has weighed on my heart so heavily. I wish I could literally go out and thank every single person out there. Because that's shit that had me, in tears a lot. Because it's just shit you don't really get a lot as a Black man.
I appreciate it, but I'm
Hope
kind
for
of
humanity
torn.
Regained.
And all that sentimental
It
shit.
doesn't
Out the
really
fucking window.
regain my hope in humanity, because I feel like the COVID thing and people being locked in the house for so long,
I do believe that
I
has
feel like
something
it
to
was
do with it.
kind of an excuse to get. It was like a powder keg that was built up, and then the death just sparked it, and everybody was tired of the government saying that we can't work and stuff, and everybody just filed out outside in protest. So I feel like a lot of it is when you have a large group of people, a good percentage of them have nefarious motives, a good percent of them have righteous motives, a good percent of them have no motives. They're just there for anarchy. And it's you really don't, when you have a large crowd of people, you don't know who's who. They're just there. Some of them are just there.
But that's how I feel with the post. That's how I feel.
And that's why I don't think that large scale protests really. I'm torn, and part of me feels like it doesn't do anything, and part of me feels like if there wasn't such large scale protests, there might not have been a conviction or whatever, or the cases might have gone a different way and stuff. But
Exactly.
you know, who knows?
For me, I'm torn. I'll say it straight up so we can put it on record so that way there's no confusion about it ever. I'm really not with peaceful protests. I know that's so toxic to say. No. But for me, I believe that most...
It's technically not peaceful.
It's not peaceful. I'm not with the peaceful protest. I'm really not. I'm not... for me, most of the times that I've seen change happen and stuff like that... Yo, first of all, I didn't fucking ask you. No, I'm sorry. But most of the time I've seen change, it has been behind some act of defiance or violence. Boston Tea Party, American Revolution, end of slavery. You know, all that shit had to be dealt with war, bloodshed, shit like that. So for me, going out and marching, like when the American government marches, they go march to go kill people. you know, and they march in unison. They have uniforms. They have guns. They go march for a reason to go take shit out. When we go marching, we just go march to go make noise, which technically does nothing more than inconvenience people trying to get to work, you know, or trying to work. So for me, change in my head does not happen without some kind of act of super defiance. Not necessarily, I'm going to try to steer away from violence, but defiance type
It's funny,
of way.
I was actually meaning to say this. So on this issue, I'm almost like giddily, annoyingly agnostic on this issue of whether
Like you are with the rest of life?
Right. No, just like whether or not, no, facts. Just about like whether or not violent movements are better than peaceful movements.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like the statistics are more in the favor of peaceful. Movements. Mm-hmm. But at the same time,
Is that because we have more peaceful protests than violent like we don't really have violent protests?
I think
I
violent.
don't know. I'm not too sure if that's necessarily true. I feel like there's a deep history of protests around the world. Like,
Yes.
I know that protests that turned violent.
There's a lot of countries.
There's a
out
lot
there,
of data.
So I mean, there's a lot of different movements for a lot of different reasons.
But I mean, like protests that were meant to be like, we're going out, we're going to go do some violent shit. Yeah. Like this protest is meant to be, not like we're going to go out and protest and it turned violent.
No. I think there probably were a lot of protests that were intentionally violent from the start. And I think people have compared those to peaceful protests, like peaceful protests from the start. And I think that one line of logic on why peaceful protests would work better is because when you have combatant age people and people fit for combat tend to be only like a certain sliver of the population. Mm-hmm. So the more that you get outside of that and you start enveloping in people who aren't physically fit enough for combat, then you're just
war.
talking about war. You know what I mean? You're including in more people into the movement, so that your movement has more actual execution power as far as like especially if you're in a democracy, getting votes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I would say that peaceful protests, in my mind, have proven their kind of like their workability. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I also don't think that peaceful protester advocates who say violent protest never works, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's objectively true at all. I think violent
works.
Yeah, so
I think it definitely works.
Sometimes.
Look at the history of our country. It came out of violent protests.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
A
lot of stuff. Our country was built on a very violent protest. The abolishment of slavery was low-key a violent protest.
But I feel like the thing about violent protests is I don't think that's the way to go, because you gotta exhaust your peaceful
I would say
options
that
first.
So that's
because
why
we don't. Mm-hmm. The government and the police have stuff that they've been stockpiling weapons and stuff for years or whatever. You know, they're ready for insurrection or for.
I think they're ready for it, but they don't want to use it. That's their thing.
No, they are itching to use this stuff. Okay,
they're
waiting. They have stuff for us. They're ready, very ready.
But like for me, it's like. That's the point. If it's there's the fucking movie where I got my name from. He says, "How do I know that?" They go and they meet this dude, Spot Collins, and they ask Spot Collins, "Hey, bro, we're about to boycott the news board and like the as newsies, we're about to boycott the people that give us the news because they're not paying us enough. All this other shit, they're charging us too much, and we need your help because if you join us." We know that majority of the other newsies are going to join us based off of your merit.
Right, influencers.
Exactly. So he said, basically, he was like, look, I'm with the shits. Y'all know I'm with the shits. And this sounds like a very beautiful plan. But how do I know that as soon as a cop comes running at you with a billy club and hits you over the head, you're not going to be like, oh, never mind, my bad. Fuck that. I'll pay it. No, $2. He said $2. I got you. Right. Like, how do I know that you guys are really going to be down with the shits? Because I'm about to be out here fighting with y'all, like fighting with y'all. So when I see that you guys are down to fight, you know, I'm really with it because I'm not about to bring all my forces out here for you guys to be on some like, we tried, we gave it the old college try. And to piggyback off of your point, I absolutely do think we need to exhaust every outlet of peace that we can, for the fact that if it does turn violent, we can turn back like, look, bro, we asked you nicely. We went into your homie and asked your homie to ask you. We went here, we did this, we marched, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did that, we did all that we can. I said that to somebody recently. I said, I feel like as black people, we have about 5 more years of seeing this, going through marches, going through protests. I say we have 5 more years of peaceful shit until shit starts getting ugly. And it's gonna go bad because I feel like it's gonna be too many people trying to solve this their own way.
I think it's gonna get ugly because of other factors as
I think it's gonna be a lot of different factors, but I think it's mainly gonna be so many people trying to solve this issue their own way without us coming together and be like, no, this is how. Like honestly, if it was up to me, I would be training a militia not to immediately go to war, but just to have a force ready if we need them. But my first act of King of the Blacks,
any large group of people, it's easy to infiltrate and to plant moles and plant people in there to turn the course of it easy.
Of course, it is.
I feel like the CIA have done this so many times.
Done it a lot
they
of
got
times.
it down to a science.
That's
so it's like,
and you need
the solution to the black struggle has to be very nuanced. And
that's my thing. I know that they're gonna put in plants, just like the Black Panthers knew that they were gonna put in plants and stuff like that. It has to be dealt with, something that has to be, or at least like, look, we know one of y'all is a plant. That's why nobody in this group is gonna advance past this level. But I think my first action as King of the Blacks.
I also feel like if you show violent intent towards the government, they're gonna escalate their tactics.
Hold on. My first
thing, they eventually went into some of the Black Panthers' home and killed them in their beds.
They did.
So it's like
you gotta be Black Wall Street. I know.
If it's war,
it's real war. I know. My first thing would be a financial war. So it would be if I were able to corral all the black people together, be like, hey, look, we're all gonna do the same thing in order to get the attention. Even at the same time, I'm training the militia.
I feel like that's impossible.
Say, we all posted.
That would be like turning a ship on a dime.
Hey, we all.
I feel like that's what the Black Panthers.
We all posted exactly.
We're really already striving for doing,
but it would be.
Who knows what percentage of the black people that was though?
It would be because financial first. So it'd be like, look, us as black people, if this is an ideal situation, just like you saying, ideally we can end racism. Ideally, I'd be like, look, financially, we are no longer paying taxes to a country that does not represent us. Even if we live here, fine. We're squatters now. So if you guys want us to pay taxes on certain shit, suck my dick. We're going to maintain this level of basically defiance financially. You're not going to receive taxes from us. We're not spending our money in certain areas that are funding government issues.
I feel that, but then that's like the sovereign nation people.
It's something like that, but I'm saying it will
throw you in jail.
It will take.
You'll be right up in jail.
But that's what I'm saying. If we're talking about every single black person in America, is like all of a sudden I'm not paying taxes. And then what's going to happen after that is trickle it down to not just black people. White people will be like,
getting every single person out of a population to do anything.
But he's king of the blacks.
I'm the king of the blacks, bro. I'm king of the blacks, bro. So
would be like getting an elephant to balance on
a
pencil.
Hold on. But just like you said with your hypothetical ending racism. So hypothetically, if I'm able to tell people, hey, stop paying taxes, that will trickle down to non-black people. Like, hey, in solidarity, some people will do it in solidarity. Other people will do it try to get by. We're not paying taxes either. And then after that, it's like we're not paying in these stores because they are funding these people that are disenfranchising black people. Eventually, the thing that hurts people the most is money.
Eventually, the stores would do how the games are doing now, and they will all put Black Lives Matter or whatever in your face, and then behind the scenes, they'll be doing whatever they want.
But that's the point. Even if behind the scenes, like that's what I'm saying, we will not give them money until we see a change, not just a name change. That's why, like I said, I don't want to see these games just put up Black Lives Matter just so they can put it up and then that's it. I need you to donate some money.
You would have to define what that change is going to be.
So I would say, first of all, you guys have to donate some money, especially after you,
But a lot of them are donating.
No, I would say
it's like the money just goes.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
just donate millions. Where's the millions going?
That's
to?
what I'm saying. You have to donate to the right cause, and that's the thing. If you donate to the right people, not just, hey, I donated to a black school. No, don't donate to a black school. We have said donate to these organizations that we have already sat with and said this is how we're dishing out money to the black government and black people. You know.
But who's we? Because I feel like there's
Me as king of the blacks.
There's so many.
Am I not making
There's so many different sects
Am I
of
not
black
the king of the
people.
blacks?
There's conservative black
Yes.
people. There's left black people.
and
there's
at this time-
sinners black people.
And to me, at this time, none of that shit matters. 5%ers, Muslims, light
There's
skin,
Muslim,
Bloods, Crip,
Christian,
none of that
every
shit,
other religion.
None of that shit matters to me. If you have melanated skin, to me, you are important, and you are very, very important to me, and like to a fault.
Oh, okay.
That's
see
what I'm
you-
saying.
I definitely think that they matter and they contribute.
So that's what I'm saying. Even though there's a mass amount of different black people, just like there's a mass amount of different white people, I don't think every white person's racist.
There's black
I don't
people
even
who
think-
don't consider themselves
I
black.
know there's Puerto
There's
Ricans.
like Puerto Rican
There's
black
Puerto
people.
Ricans. There's Dominicans. There's people that don't consider, and even
There's
them,
Panamanian black
even
people.
them, they are the only people in the black community that.
If you
upset
ask them,
me.
"Are you black?" No, my
Yeah,
friend. No,
yeah.
I am
They're-
not black,
yeah,
my friend.
They're the only people in the black community that upset me, and even them, I still love to a fault. Like I love Dominicans. I love people with melanated skin, and I will do anything for people with melanated skin if I feel like their lives are in jeopardy. So
But getting them to be on the same page as you,
and that's my thing. For me, that includes frustrating myself to try to get us all on the same page. Right. If my brother and sister are fighting and I'm trying to get them to get on the same page, I love them both. I'm not going to pick a side. I'm not going to toss one to the wayside. I'm going to sit there, and even if it causes me to get an aneurysm, heart attack, anything like that, this is me as a person, and I'm not expecting everybody else to act like this, but me as a person, I would sit there, you've seen it, I will defend my brother to a fault, even if he's wrong to other people. Now, if he wrongs me and him get into our own little shit, that's one thing. But for other people, whenever somebody else is like, well, I don't fuck with your brother because it's like, I don't give a fuck if you don't fuck with my brother. If you fuck with me, you have to fuck with my brother.
That baby.
I
shouldn't have been
agree.
Playing in the street.
I agree to a degree.
Mhm.
Like if I'm getting reports from people that your brother's been backstabbing people and doing all type of reckless stuff, it's like he's kind of like a representation of me
He
out
is.
there.
And I would
so
check,
it's like
yeah.
I can't be around you really because you're doing crack and
I
stealing
see,
people's TVs and stuff.
For me,
you know?
it would be
Like, I love you,
I
but
would
get
be
away
like-
from me.
I would be going out. I'm the type of person that I'd be going out and dragging them out of crack houses and be
Not
like,
me.
I'd be like, look, bro.
You don't know the intent of a person's heart.
That's
They could
fine.
want destruction.
And that's
they
what I-
could want chaos.
and that's what I mean,
And
like-
you're not gonna drag me down with you.
And that's what I mean. I love black people to a fault. I'm the type that I would work with black people. I would work with people that are.
There's some
in
people
need.
who are like the Joker.
Even then,
All they want is chaos.
even then, I would want. For me, I'm still gonna work with you, and I'm still gonna try, and I'm still gonna show you love. Even the people that I don't talk to no more, even people that I don't fuck with, I still got love for them enough that if they were in danger, I would help them.
I got love
I
for you
agree.
to where if
I
I
do not
see
mind.
you trying to change your life, I'm gonna be there for you, cheering you on and try to help you.
Even- okay.
But
I
if
appreciate-
I'm not gonna come pull you out of the gutter because you got to do that yourself, my guy.
I appreciate that, but see, here's my
Mm.
thing. When I try and pull you out of the gutter because I love you, it's because of myself.
It's
I'm doing
that's
it-
a me
I'm doing
thing.
it- this
That
is a-
I don't want to
this is a
see
me
you
thing.
like this.
I
I don't
want
feel
to
like
see you
going to
like
your
this.
funeral.
My
I don't
love-
feel like
except my love drive makes me want to try and better your life. If your life never actually betters, cool. I just die loving you, and that's me executing it.
When-
But
when
for
I-
me, it comes totally from a selfish place.
When I was
and
getting
I
on-
will never regret the effort I put in to try and better that situation.
When I was getting on Code's head about getting fit, and if you want to be out of shape or overweight, or you have a problem with being overweight, that's your thing. That's your struggle. For my brother, my personal brother, who I knew could be fit and was just having a problem with his eating habits, I got on his head so much about his eating habits because I did not feel like going to his funeral because he died over some diabetes shit at 30. You know, I did not feel like having to deal with him having heart complications and all these things because he's obese. So I got on his head like, bro, I need you to lose this fucking weight.
So I shamed him
Into losing the fucking weight. I do not care. That is my brother.
Encouragement is one thing, but
No,
if a
that
person
is
is
my
gonna go down a
fucking brother.
certain path, I'm gonna let them go down that path.
See-
Okay.
see, that's
you
my
want to
thing.
go to destruction? It's right over
See,
there.
shame,
Go to it.
Shame.
Me and my family,
Shame.
we're going to go in the way of order and righteousness.
So
We're
that's
not
my
doing
thing.
all that.
So my thing is, I want as many
I got
people to
compassion
come.
for you. I have love for you.
See, that's my thing. I'm gonna try, because even if it doesn't affect that person that I'm trying to help, somebody else is gonna see me trying to affect their life, and it might affect them.
Yes.
So for me, especially as a man that grew up in a Christian household, for me, the idea of Christianity is putting other people above yourself and sacrificing yourself for other people's well-being. You know, and always, you know, it's not.
I feel like, hey, man, if you want to gamble with your life, gamble with your life. Okay, that's on you. I may not agree with that, but that's your right as a human being. I may try to help you, but if I feel like trying to help you is putting me in danger and pulling like my life down into the muck with you, I can't do that. I can't try to save you from being a gang member, but you keep going back to being a gang member, and then you bring some mess around me and my wife gets shot or something, you know, or one of my family members gets shot.
So that's my thing.
But no, I'm not doing that.
I feel that, but at the same time, I still am that black person that if you are actively pursuing this shit that I feel like, yo, bro, I really don't want to attend your funeral. I really don't want to attend your funeral. Like, I'm really not doing that. I'm going to put myself in a situation, even if I try to like separate, I'm going to sacrifice my time, my energy. If it takes my life, like if it's for you, bro, and I feel like you were going down the wrong path, I would sacrifice my life to try to make sure that you would. If I knew, like, okay, if I sacrifice my life, Nick would get his shit straight, I'd do it, because honestly, that's how much you mean to me, and that's how much compassion I do.
If you were going down a path like that, I would not sacrifice my life, because I have a responsibility to my family.
I get that.
And to my people to not try to save the world and try to save all the hungry children of the world, because that will kill me.
See, for me, it's such a semantical thing of like sacrificing your life, and I guess for me that's where it comes from. It's like if what I'm doing to try and save you is what someone else would call sacrificing their life, then I get it. You know, you don't have to do that thing. It's just, for me, what some people would call sacrificing their life, to me, I'm just living my life.
I'm living my life.
This is the life I chose anyway. Yeah, this is like doing, like me trying to pull you out of the gutter is the life I want to live.
Yeah,
like,
I get this a lot, and I hope I don't take this. I hope I don't take this conversation off the topic, but I get, when I date women, one of the questions or one of the statements I get, and I hate it, is, "Oh my God, you just get me. You're such a nice. You just understand me. I feel like you just know me, and I feel like I've known you my whole life." And they tell me that not because I necessarily know them or I really said anything or I really could. They're saying that because I do nice shit that most people with common sense would
know
do.
Them, understand them, or
understand
the language they're speaking.
Nothing. It's
like,
literally because
I can't understand
whatever. It's literally because I open doors, pull out chairs, I listen to them. I actually recite back shit they say, and that's not me. Oh, I listen. Oh, I really understand. I get no. I'm just
That's behavior.
That's just regular behavior. That's just, honestly, that's one human being acting like I do that with my niggas. Like, that's not like something like I'm doing for you because we just have this connection, and you're a Pisces and I'm an Aquarius and we're compatible. No, like, if I were you, I would want to be listened to. So for me, I'm going to listen to you. That's just the basic common courtesy I can. So for me, on the flip side, if I was going down the wrong path, even if I was on a destructive method, if I saw somebody trying to fix me, at least in that very detail, at least around that person, me personally, I would try to fix myself. I have a person at my job who witnessed me being blackout drunk. And like we said, I've never been blackout drunk before. This person seen me get blackout drunk, started shaking to the point where they thought I had alcohol poisoning and all this other shit. I came back to this person. This person started crying in front of me about how they were concerned. And this is not no like little ass dude or some, emotional girl. This is a grown ass, big ass dude crying about how concerned he was for my safety. No. So seeing that act, and just seeing this big ass motherfucker cry because he was concerned for my safety, I'm probably never gonna drink around this nigga again. Not saying I'm never gonna drink again. I'm probably never gonna drink around him ever again.
And that's my point. You can cry, you can fall out, you can do whatever. But if a person want to drink, they gonna drink.
But look, just his act of
it's like I appreciate the showing of that.
But
yes.
that's what I'm saying. His
but
act
if
of,
I'm gonna throw away my life, nothing you can do is gonna stop that.
But I was saying the act of him at least crying in front of me, there's nothing you can do to stop it. But at least the act of him crying in front of me.
Well, for some people, that might help. That might be enough to stop you from doing something that might kill you. Yes.
Right. So that's my thing. It stopped me enough to drink in front of him, and I'm in front of this dude a lot. So it's like, all right, even though
I cut down your drink.
So even though I'm not that big of a drinker, it has definitely cut down how much I'm going to drink. Especially even when we're out with these people and they're drinking, I'm like, no, I'm straight. I'm cool.
What? I'll pass.
I'm passing because he's there, and I'm like, okay, look. Even if I'm just not drinking because you're here, that is a step in the right direction. If I was like a super alcoholic, that's a step in the right direction. At least when you're here, I'm not drinking. Yeah. So that's at least that small thing may snowball into something bigger. The fact that I'm around him all the time and I'm not drinking, when I'm around him, eventually I'll just be like, you know what, I don't need to drink. I just don't drink anymore because
I feel like a more strategic plan would be better. Like if the person actually attacked the source of the drinking or whatever, like if you actually had a drinking problem.
But that's the thing.
You, the person who has a drinking problem, attacks the source, because you
that's
can't wait for other people to do it. Or if you have a family and people who care about you, then yes. But some people don't have that.
But sometimes it takes somebody bringing the situation to light, or it takes somebody telling you how severe the situation is, because you can't always see it from the outside. If I'm smoking mad blunts in my room, when I walk into my room, I'm gonna go nose deaf. I'm not gonna know, it smells like weed in here. After a while, I'm like, oh, this is the normal smell. Until you come in my room, like, yo, bro, your room not only just smells like weed, it smells like it's a bad odor of weed. Like it's a very, very stale weed smell in here. You should do something about that.
It smells like ass in here.
Exactly. So, and then at that case, I'd be like, well, man, this is my only.
I feel like at the beginning you knew,
and
then you did it so many times that you made it a subroutine in your mind, and you just forgot about it.
So that's what I'm saying. So now, even if that is the case, now in my head, it's not an issue anymore until you come up and say, hey, bro, this is actually an issue, or at least from my perspective, this is an issue. So sometimes it takes that outside perspective to be like, hey, yo, yeah, for sure. So just so you know, this is how your room is smelling. This is how it is.
We'll stop at 11:30.
And so basically, it's like you want to show somebody the outside first. Like, hey, look, bro, I'm just gonna bring this to attention. Your hair. Shorty told me this the other day. She was like, I don't like your beard the way it is. I think you need to trim it. So her just telling me that was her bringing it to my perception. I went and looked at my face. I'm like, my beard is looking a little long. It's looking a little unkept. But then at the same time,
you're looking a little prehistoric.
Yeah, you're looking a little caveman-y. But then at the same time, you are not the type of woman I'm trying to attract. And the woman that I am trying to attract has already previously stated she likes the scruffy look, or she likes the rugged, more lumberjack look. So for me, I'm like, I'm not gonna, I may have had that brought to my attention. I'm not gonna change my look, but I definitely am now gonna be something that I am considering concerned for. And then maybe someday in the future, I might trim this up, trim the beard or something and take it down a little bit.
I think as humans, we're pack animals, and other humans kind of they make us they turn us into
they become burdens.
No, they turn us into regular, like a good human, like from being around other people, because they show you your blind spots, like you're saying.
Exactly.
And they kind of update your map of the world.
And some people feel uncomfortable to show other people their blind spots either, because
I feel like just being around other people does that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Just interacting with them.
Sometimes.
That's how we like as children. That's how you learn rules and everything, is from being around other kids and being around other people, and that I feel like that keeps going even as you're getting older, because you see certain behaviors that society is going to frown upon, or it's just certain behaviors that society promotes, and it's like some of them are good, some of them are bad based upon your lineage, your upbringing.
And that's why I say
but
in this one, in the case bringing it back to black people and how I feel about black people should be treated by other black people. For me, it's like knowing our history, knowing how we've been pinned against each other for years and been, every time we've tried to come together, from Black Wall Street to gangbanging, the original versions of Bloods and Crips and all that. Every time we've tried to come together, we've been driven apart. We've always been systematically, driven apart and kept, on opposite ends, from Bloods to Crips to religion to 5%ers to all these things. We're always against each other. Now, my number one goal when it comes to my black community is always inclusion. I always want to listen to my black people that don't share the same viewpoint as me. That's why I love this platform that you created, bro, is we can sit here and have these dialogues. I can disagree with you in love. I can take in you guys' input, process it without my bias, with my bias.
That's iron sharpens iron.
Exactly. So for me, as black people, we're so used to being down and not being heard that when we get amongst each other, we want to express ourselves, I want to be the leader in the room. I want to be the one that inside change, instead of being like, yo, look, I just want to be the one that listens. I just want to be the one that accepts information. I just want to be the one that understands how you feel.
I feel like having an opposing viewpoint is how you update the moral map of the world that people are running, the schema that they're running in their minds. If you come in the room, and every time you come in the room, you're hearing people talk, and they're just talking, and you just letting them go, and they're just babbling off at the mouth, and it's like no one's challenging them, then bad memes are going to just keep propagating in people's minds, and they're going to evolve. They're not going to just stay at that same level. They're going to get worse and worse. You're going to leave, and you're going to come back, and they're going to be worse than they were.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I like talking to people with different viewpoints of me, and like talking to people that don't necessarily agree with me, because I get to at least understand why do you have that view? Tell me why you have that view without me even combating you. Just tell me why you think that way. Like I said, I don't believe in peaceful protesting. I don't believe in marching, but I go to these protests and I go to these marches just for the reason of not to take pictures. People don't really see me take pictures out there because I'm not there for the photo op. I'm out there, one, to show my solidarity with people that I don't agree. Like, I don't agree with this method of protest, but I'm gonna be out here to show my solidarity with you guys, even though I don't agree with it, because
it's something.
It's something, and I appreciate you guys, and I just want to show that I appreciate you guys being out here exhausting every outlet of peaceful protest that we can. Second, I'm out there just getting conversations and dialogue, and I'll tell people like, yo, look, I'm not really with the peaceful protest, but I'm out here just to kind of help you guys, say thank you, and just be around this energy. And people will talk to me. Well, this is what I believe. This is how I think we should stop. And it creates a dialogue that I can bring back to you. You can tell somebody else. That person can tell somebody else. Even if you don't agree with it, it just, at least being open to talk, being open to disagree in love is going to be the first step. And that's what my number one goal as a black man is to listen to other, specifically black men, but black people in general. But I like to listen to other black men that have different viewpoints, different upbringings, different, backgrounds than me, just to get all their different opinions, to see where do we connect? Where do we, not connect? How can I connect us? And if I wanted to call each one of you into action, how could I do that? How can I motivate you to come out here and do this for me? How can I motivate you to come out here and do this for me? And that just starts with us dropping all these differences. And I don't like to say this because I hate when we mention America's issues and they bring up black issues. Well, if niggers will stop doing black on black crime, police will stop killing them. That's not true. But for me, one of the only black issues we need to tackle first is the problem. Not everybody can drive the ship. We just need to listen first. And technically, we don't need anybody to drive the ship. We just need to all get on this same fucking boat. So if that boat is marching, cool. If that boat is just a social media protest, cool. Financial protest, cool. Whatever it is, we first need to have a dialogue so we can all get on the same page. And with that, fuck this shit. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just we gotta be in the place to listen and love each other first before we can try to change too much, and that's for ourselves. Now, for the world, that has nothing to do with you guys. Like, don't think that we need to do this first for you guys to stop this police brutality. That's y'all shit. Y'all got to stop that now. We will work on our own shit on our own. But the issue that we need to tackle right now is the fact that other people are treating black people as if we are lesser than, based upon media perception, based upon past experiences with a black person, you know, not multiple, just one. And then having to just deal with just being disenfranchised in general. So then after that, we need to come together as ourselves, like, okay, this is how we're going to get back on top. You know, this is how we're going to get back to the place where we can be respected and somewhere where we're not at the bottom of the totem pole, where the darkest complexion of every race is always treated like shit. So it's going to take a lot of work on both ends, but I don't feel like we need to start blaming black people for this police brutality crisis, and I don't see what we can do differently. Like, honestly, I don't believe...
I feel like some of the people on the videos I saw were being antagonistic towards the police.
But was
some of them were just minding their business.
Was that
and they met that one racist cop.
Were they being aggressive for no reason? Like, did they just pull up to the cop? Because a lot of the ones that
of the times I've seen, like, the cop would be like, "Oh, can I see your ID or something?" And the guy's like, he'd blow up on the cop or whatever, and the cop's like, "You know what, sir? You know."
Most of the time that I've seen most of the videos, all of the people in the videos may have been frustrated, but they haven't been combative in a place where the police should have met them with "get out the car." Because in America, you are completely allowed to have freedom of speech. I can say "fuck you, pig." I can say "you're a piece of shit." Your mama's a hoe. I can say all this shit to a cop and not get arrested. So a lot of what I'm seeing is within your legal right. What I see a lot is cops feel disrespected because people are being frustrated and upset that they're being pulled over for no reason or harassed. And then when they are met with this verbal attack, they feel like, oh, well, fuck the Constitution. I'm going to arrest you for being aggressive.
I feel like,
it's my legal right to be respected, which it is not.
It's not. It's not.
Like,
yes, no legal right to be respected.
Exactly.
I agree that you're within your rights to act however you want. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, morally, maybe you shouldn't be antagonistic. Maybe you should, try to help the situation go along smoothly and don't try to always be, no, fuck this,
But I think that's a very general statement.
You already know that they're underfunded and this cop just got his gun a week ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe not escalate the situation.
Actually, but then for me, it's the same.
Maybe not turn it up.
But I feel like that's you're making a very general statement about all black people. I don't feel like
I'm not saying all black people. I'm saying the percentage of black people who I've seen on those videos who were tussling with the cop when the cop is trying to restrain them is like, if I have a gun on my hip and you throw an elbow in the right position and I get knocked out, I'm knocked out and the gun is right there. It don't got no lock on it. It don't have no biometric scanner.
But that's what I'm saying.
You could just take the gun, shoot me, and then dip.
Where most of these people are getting arrested and they're acting like this is because they're being unlawfully arrested and they know they are. And what we're asking them to do.
Even then, even if you know you're being unlawfully arrested, just be arrested and fight it in court. It's better to live another day and fight it in court than to fight it right then and then get shot in the head.
That's not to say exactly.
Get shot in the back or something.
Because if
we're talking about,
if you're mysteriously coming up dead while
in jail, like Sandra Bland, like a lot of people are coming up dead. There's another brother that came up dead on the way to police the jail.
All I'm saying is we already know the system is not built for you.
It's not.
Let's not escalate it to the point to where you are like chancing your life based on
what I'm saying is that we get that. Some of us get that.
Yes.
All of us do not get that. And
the burden shouldn't be put on us.
That's why I'm saying there's a percentage of black people who, when they see the cops, they start foaming at the mouth and shit.
Yeah,
and they start going crazy. And I'm like, do not escalate the situation and make the cop who you know is scary already, and you're 6'4" or whatever, 230 pounds, and he's trying to get your arms behind your back, and you're throwing him around and shit.
Sure,
But I see that
I-
in certain cases, but like with Tamir Rice, where they just pull up and start shooting.
exactly.
I'm not talking about that.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's
But
that's
we're-
cut and dry. That's black and white.
But
That's
But
he's
what
in the
But
wrong.
what
But
I'm saying is
honestly-
that if you improve the situations that you were talking about, I would make the claim that you still have the situation.
You
we're
still
talking
have
about.
the situation where cops
yeah,
are shooting
so
unfairly.
if you have- if black people as a whole start performing better during arrest and not doing violent shit and stuff like that, I feel like you would still have the exact same problem. That
And
I don't think you
I
would.
think we would.
I think the number will go down even more than
But look,
it's
it would,
already
like,
going
I
down.
think it would honestly.
I
If
think
it goes
some
down,
black people
so
are
what you-
provoking the situation and making it worse.
I think-
So let me be specific.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is that the number would go down, yes, but there are some people who were doing nothing violent.
Mhm.
They still died. Those cases have nothing to do.
And I
with
feel like
That's
people
that's
who
a
are-
percentage
who are
of
being
people who you're going to.
Mhm.
It's like a roll of the dice.
Mhm.
You ran into the racist cop.
But that's the thing.
That percentage of the
Sure,
force,
right,
you
but-
ran into
but-
that
but I feel like that
20%
is-
or whatever.
I feel like the-
like-
I feel like running to that racist cop is a higher. I feel like that is a higher probability of running into that one cop is higher than somebody just being on some like, oh fuck it, and throwing that random elbow. Because if you look at most of you, like I said, they spawn from a cop feeling like they got disrespected.
Plus also-
so now I'm about to grab you aggressively, and for me, if you grab me aggressively and I don't feel like I should be arrested or anything, I am not gonna show like mad resistance, but I'm gonna say like, no, bro, why are you arresting me? And they
Also,
never want to tell them I'm arresting you for
what's
this
the-
reason.
what-
I
What's the-
seen a
what's-
video
what
where a
is the
cop
rate?
ran up and kicked the guy in the back.
Right.
And there was
then-
like 4 other
and how
cops
much
right
of it-
there.
and how much of
If that was me, I would have let him kick me in the back and just went along with it. All right, y'all gonna put me in
But this is
handcuffs.
the deal.
I'm pissed.
Right,
yes,
right.
it's
But
on
look,
video.
this is
I'm
the deal.
suing.
This is the deal. No, this is the deal. Even
So
cops
then-
that
so
have
then
been
would you-
on
so
video
then would
doing what you're
never
talking about.
protest that? So then would you never protest that?
Exactly.
And would you ask that no one ever protested? You got kicked in the back while following all of their orders and stuff.
And
like
on
that.
top of that,
So to
you
me,
didn't
like,
receive
I'm
any
saying
money.
That's what I'm
yes,
saying.
you can protest it, but not right then.
It would
Don't
have-
protest it
But
when they're
again-
trying to put
but
the
again,
handcuffs
that's what
on
I'm
you.
saying.
Listen,
But again,
Let
that's what
them
I'm
put
saying.
the cuffs on you.
But this is again why I'm saying those are separate issues.
Even then,
and
exactly.
it is a massive distraction
Mm-hmm.
when people go, oh, so you people who were peacefully following the cops' orders, we can't better your situation until the people who weren't peaceful.
Exactly.
That's not
start
what I'm
being
saying.
But that's
That is not what I'm saying.
But it's kind of
What I'm saying, is you help your probability of living
Mm-hmm.
by not escalating the situation
Obviously.
in
But
which
that's obvious.
the
Yeah,
other
but-
person has a gun and
Mhm.
has a license to use it.
And then
But
what
something
my
that has
That's
to
it.
do
let me say this. Let me say this.
Fair.
My thing is, in that situation, I am not the one being paid to de-escalate that situation. I am not the one that quote unquote went to training to de-escalate that situation. So me, especially as a black man that feels like I am put in this situation time and time and time again for no reason, this might be the 6th time I'm being pulled over by this cop. And the first 5, I was absolutely cordial, but you still took me out the car, gave me a random breathalyzer, even though you know I wasn't drunk, and you were being, not even you, your department was being absolutely irrational. So now on the 5th time, I am going to be a little bit perturbed. I'm going to be a little bit upset. I'm going to call you out your name. And then you're going to take me out my car and be like, turn around. And you don't have a reason to arrest me. So then when you turn me around and slam me up against the car because I called you a little bitch, of course you're going to be met with some resistance. And then like you said, if I'm
But
now...
I think that you should always be in the mindset of not escalating it to that
But that's
point.
my point. That's what I'm
Do
saying.
not take
hold
it
on,
there
listen to me.
because
But that's
you're
what-
putting
listen.
your life on the line.
Listen to what I'm
You're
saying, though.
betting your life.
Even listen to
on-
what I'm saying. So after the 7th time of being
It
harassed,
doesn't matter
Hold on,
if
hold
it's
on.
20 times.
Okay, so
Do
that's
never.
so this is what you're saying. So
never
this is what you're
match
saying.
violence with
But
violence.
this is what I'm saying. I'm
Never.
not saying matching
Don't do
violence
it
with
then.
violence. I'm saying
Because
by
they have the
after-
right to
hold
kill
on, hear me
you.
out. After the 20th time of them oppressing me, now you're just asking every time I see somebody with a badge and a blue suit on, I gotta pull my pants down and bend over and let him
No,
do.
that's
Hold on,
not
hold
what
on.
I'm saying.
Listen,
I'm not saying
listen,
it.
listen.
Can I say something?
No, you just said it. I'm trying
Okay.
to
Okay.
answer what you said. So If you want me to always comply with the police and always do what I say because it's going to be a better chance for me to maybe, because let's be honest, it doesn't always go that way when it goes, let's battle it in court. There's a reason why they call it the blue curtain. Because they're going to be like, well, do you have any physical evidence? I got bruises. You could have got that anywhere. I took these the night that it happened. It could have happened anywhere. You have no video footage. You have no this. You have no that. Even with video footage, we're still not going to pay you. You were resisting. You this, that, and the other. You didn't get in the cuffs. So after 20 times of you going through all this shit, you're
Still
saying,
don't do it.
you still saying the next time the cop comes in and says, hey,
Be compliant.
be
Every
compliant.
time.
I'm gonna rub your wife's breath. No, and I'm saying
No.
this is what happens in the
Even
street.
then, though, be compliant.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Only
In
if
these,
you want to survive.
that if you
Yes.
want to survive, and for
If your
me,
goal is survival,
and my
be
goal,
compliant.
my goal
But
is
this
not,
is no-
my
but
goal
this
is
is
not
no bearing on
survival.
the movement.
My goal is not survival. My goal is for reform and change. I don't want to be able to have to just let a cop have his way. That cop should not feel comfortable to have his way with me at all. So if I gotta fight you back, if I gotta, be combative, if I gotta lose my life for you to be able to lose this privilege of being able to,
like I
do
said
whatever you
earlier,
want.
I have a responsibility
You do.
to get home to my
No,
wife
right.
and
We-
my
and that's fair,
children
and that's fair,
and to
that
raise
is-
them.
that is
I
true.
cannot be the revolutionary who died and left his kids to be raised by Tyrone or by
that's-
someone else.
that is
That's-
I'm not doing that.
That's completely fair.
And I don't think that most people should do that. I think that you
I
should
don't-
comply with the officer,
I don't
even
think
if
so.
you know he's being an
I
asshole.
do not think so.
Do what he is telling you
I
to
do
do.
not think so, because that's
he
how-
has a gun,
Okay. Sure,
and wrestling
sure.
with him might make him think that
I-
you
Okay.
have
Do
the
I
intent
think
to
that
kill
most-
him.
Do I
Okay.
think
That's
that
it.
most people? Do I think most people should be martyrs? No.
No.
But will I turn around and then when those people are talking about the issue, say that martyrdom is ineffective?
That's not what
in
I'm
the
saying.
grand scheme of things? I
But
would-
it's
That's
not-
not what I'm saying. I never said it was ineffective.
But it's not
But
saying
there
that it's
is- okay,
ineffective.
All I'm
It's-
saying is,
but there
if
was-
your
but
goal
there
is
was a
survival-
point- but there was a point in which we were talking about what is the next most effective thing for black people to do to better their situation, and that we did get to a point in which you were saying that you thought that it seemed to me that you were bringing up that black people behaving differently in those situations would better their overall cause, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not too sure if that's true.
That's not
And
true.
That would help individual black
Certain
people
people's
getting
in certain
home
cause.
at night. Yeah. So
But
and
when
then-
we have a
and then
whole
they go
department
live
of
and raise their
LAPD, which
families,
is
so
known to be
I think
racist.
if
that
there's
moves
if
the
there's
issue as
mass
whole.
a mass movement of people, and that's why I said I'm torn on it, because if there's a mass movement of people who are burning buildings down and stopping the economy and stuff, that's different than you being on a dark road at night with one cop and he is trying to arrest you and you're struggling with him and he's like, stop, you better put your arms behind your back, stop moving,
But also,
stop
when you
resisting
look at
arrest.
When you look at these
That's
videos, some of
different.
these cops are trying to bend these people's arms in ways that they don't bend, and it's calling that
Let
resisting.
him
No,
break
no.
it.
No,
Okay?
absolutely
Break
not.
the arm.
No, absolutely. For me,
Then you got more evidence for in court.
even if it's in court,
Break it.
You got to understand, in court, they're not helping you. They are not for you. When you take them to court, that is a act. That is a facade. All they're gonna say
But
when
that's
you
your recourse.
when you go to
don't
court-
fight it in the moment because he can kill you,
And I can
then
kill
later
him.
on say that you were resisting.
and-
He has a legal right to
and,
kill
and,
you.
And in my
No, dude.
defense, I could kill him.
No, he does not have a legal.
He does not. He does not have a legal right to kill
If
me
you-
at all.
If
He
y'all
can
are
get-
struggling, right?
getting
If
away
he
with
has
something-
you and you're struggling and you go in your pants and you pull out a gun or something,
Sure,
he's
I
gonna
may
kill
not.
you.
I may
Yeah,
not-
be-
sure.
of
But
course,
if you
sure.
go in
But
your
me-
pants and
but
you
me-
pull out a
sure.
wallet or something, he
No,
doesn't.
not even
in
that.
the moment, you don't know if it's a wallet or a
but
gun.
me doing this,
It could be a gun.
That is
But
true.
jumping from
But
that to
just
he has
doing
the
that
legal
to
right
break
to-
my
If the
arm
whole
and kill
time
me,
I'm trying to arrest you and you're moving around,
And I'm
jumping
doing
around,
that.
and you're trying to go in your pocket and stuff,
he doesn't know if
to
I'm
me,
going in
I don't
my
know
pocket.
what you're doing.
But this is the deal.
I don't know what you're
No, this is
doing.
my deal. You don't know if he's going in his pocket. All this, most of the time when I see these arrest videos, cops are trying to take this person's arm and bring it back in a way that it doesn't bend. And you hear
A
these
lot
people,
of the videos
hold on,
I've seen, the person is literally fighting.
Yeah,
the cop's
because their arms
arm,
don't bend like
fighting
that.
them, moving. No, I've
But
seen
again-
videos where the guy's
but
like
again,
going like.
but again, so what? Because what we are talking about is unarmed.
unarmed people.
Quiet
You
people
have a taser. You
dying-
have pepper spray.
dying
You
under
have a
police authority.
billy club. You couldn't have used either one of those three. The first thing that you thought to go for was your gun because you're a punk, and I'm never gonna make excuse for a cop because you sworn into this job. So whether you were scared or not, you didn't reach for your taser, you didn't reach for your pepper spray, you didn't reach for your billy club. Honestly, if you were scared for your life, you could have let that nigga go.
No,
I'm saying take it out of the cop's hands of being able to have to decide whether or not you're a threat.
At a certain
Just
point,
don't
I'm
be
not
a threat.
gonna bend
be a
over
threat.
at that point.
But you can't take another person's viewpoint of you outside of their hands.
Exactly. You can't. If
can
they were gonna
choose
kill
But
you,
you can
gonna kill
help
you.
you,
No
but
matter
things you
what.
do help define their viewpoint of you. The way I dress, the way I talk, the way I move and act will make you think a certain way about me.
Sure,
They-
yeah, of course.
I'll say this. I will say this. They shot Martin
That's
Luther
all
King,
I'm
but
saying.
no, they shot Martin Luther King.
All
and
I'm
Malcolm
saying
X,
is
and
make
they
sure
were-
those factors, the factors that would lead to you being killed, have them be very low.
What I'm saying is,
Even at
that
the
factor
lowest.
is being overblown.
Exactly.
To say that me behaving a certain kind of way is going to then overcome
The police brutality.
That's not what I'm saying.
But
I'm saying
police-
that
okay,
in a one-on-one situation,
Right.
it would help your odds of living to comply
Okay.
with the officer's what he's asking you to do.
So we're gonna bring up George Floyd.
That's it.
No. When George Floyd, when the full video came out of George Floyd, they showed in the beginning he was absolutely compliant. They walked him to the side. He was still frustrated. He's like, "What are y'all doing?" Da 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 blah blah blah. They got him in the police car. He sat in the police car. Then they started beating him in the police car because he was like, "You guys have no reason to arrest me. I'm not putting these cuffs on."
I said
But-
earlier, it's a roll of the dice.
But that's what I'm
you
saying.
might roll the dice and it come up snake eyes,
But
and
that's
you
what
get
I'm saying.
racist
That's
police.
what I'm saying. So to say that,
But
okay, on every
you
single
might
occasion,
roll the dice and get a cop who is just
and okay, so
tired
so
and trying
okay.
to get home.
But no, okay, so-
Let's
with your
maybe
life.
not.
Okay.
Let's maybe not.
Even
then,
inside that, I get
accelerate
what
the
you're saying.
situation
I get what
into
you're
being
saying.
a violent situation.
I get what you're saying,
When you
but I'm
could
saying
have.
even then, even if you don't accelerate it, for example, George Floyd. I'm not gonna do a hypothetical. I'm gonna do a real one. George Floyd was really calm until they sat him in the car and asked him to put on some cuffs, and he's like, "Why? I'm not under arrest. You guys, nobody read me my rights. This is against my rights." He's trying to legally tell them, and then they just go in the car and start beating him. Not like, "Here, put these cuffs on. Let me put these cuffs on." They asked him to put his own cuffs on. He said no, so they started beating him in the car. And then he's like, "Oh my God, I'm getting beat in the car." And your body is naturally going to defend itself. If somebody's suffocating you, your body's going to automatically fight them off no matter what you're thinking. If somebody's hitting you in your face, you're going to automatically put your hand up no matter what they're thinking. It's like when your mom used to whoop you and you put your hand up and she's like, "Oh, now you swinging back." It's like, I'm not swinging back. I'm defending myself. So now they're punching him in the car and he's sitting there, he's defending himself, and they're like, "Stop resisting. Put your hands behind your back while I'm punching you in the face." Like, "Look, bro, I wish I could. Like, I'm trying, but you're literally like, my body is reacting to you punching in the face." Then he falls out the car. And when he falls out the car, they put the cuffs on him. Now
That situation that you're talking about is not what I'm talking about.
But okay, you're
talking about you. That's cut and dry wrong.
But you're talking
That-
about
the police in that situation are wrong.
But that's
Right,
what I'm saying.
no, no,
But
they
this,
are
but hear me out.
wrong.
But
Dead
this is
wrong.
this is how
Dead wrong.
most situations
Dead wrong.
escalate like
But
that.
that's what I'm saying. Bringing up the situation that you are talking about.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a different situation.
We're talking about to say
is the problem that
exactly
I'm
to say
What we're talking about.
there are multiple
whether
cops.
Whether or not you're better.
All
whether
I
or not
said
you're better
was,
at the
if
black
you're
movement,
in a situation where you're one-on-one with a cop,
Mm-hmm.
let's maybe not make him feel that you're escalating the situation or that you're acting suspiciously or whatever.
I completely
It's like,
understand that.
Just do like you would any other time. Just try to be,
I completely understand.
comply
that.
with what he's saying,
But just-
doing what he wants you to do, so you live another day.
I completely understand that.
And I agree with
in
that.
that
like you
moment.
said-
I completely agree with
But
that.
even-
If you getting home and your survival is the subject at hand. If we are
That's
not
what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's all I was talking
But
about.
that's saying, if that's what I'm saying.
I'm not
me,
saying that the police in that situation is right or wrong. I'm saying that he's wrong. He could be whatever. He's wrong in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But for you and your survival, if you want to increase the the probability of you getting home. Let's maybe not escalate the situation.
Then, so you're saying that I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No, I like we get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What we're saying in response is that man that you have. I shouldn't have to bow the knee to a man strictly because he has a gun. Because I shouldn't be in fear for my life whenever I'm encountering the police, even if I feel like, well, if I treat him nice, I should be able to go. I should be able to have a conversation with an officer and be like, hey, bro, why did you pull me over? This, da-da-da-da-da. Well, I feel like this is an illegal stop. Please get your supervisor out here, da-da-da-da-da. But most cops don't want to get to that level. They feel like as soon as I question anything they do, I am being... So I have the right to question a cop and what his motives are. Most cops feel like me questioning them is disrespecting them. So for most people, what they think is when they get pulled over with police, just do whatever they say, even, whatever, if it's wrong is going to be handled later. But you don't understand that no matter what that's going to happen, like I said with the example I gave with both the one that happened to me and the homie that got arrested, no matter what happens, you can sit there, they're automatically not on your side.
I feel like you do the right thing in hopes that the outcome will end peacefully. But
hopes.
if you act crazy as fuck, then you're increasing the odds that it could end violently.
But your definition of
that's
crazy,
all I'm saying.
But
if you act violent with the cop and you're bigger than him or whatever,
but he should be.
That's on.
This is my deal.
That's on you, man.
I deal with annoying patients all day at the shop, right? And people come in and ask me stupid questions. There's people that come in and act aggressively, right? Why ain't y'all got this? Da, 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 blah. I can't be so quick to call security over and get him the fuck out, even though I don't want to deal with this attitude. I can't be so quick every time somebody like, y'all ain't got this? What the fuck?
But if he was acting violent and he threatens you or something, you're within your right to call the security over and to tell him to have him leave.
Their idea of violent is not me actually getting out the car, this, that, the other. Their idea of violent is me calling them a bitch because they pulled me over for no reason. Now it's get out the car, you're under arrest. For what? Get out the car, you're under arrest. Legally, you have to tell me a reason why. Even if you feel like I'm being combative, legally, you have to tell me why I'm being under arrest. My thing is,
if you don't want it to escalate further, then just don't call him a bitch.
No, but that's the deal. No, that's the point. That's the point. As a police officer,
I understand that you're within your right, but
and
morally,
they need to take
don't do that because you don't want it to go further towards the gray area of him having to decide whether or not you're a threat.
But
you're muddying the water.
He is the person.
Make it clear for him to see that you're
even if it's but that's what I'm saying. It's not that clear. Even if he pulls me over and say most of the conversation, like when I said my conversation with the police started off completely cordial. It only got combative when I told him, one, I wasn't going to get out the car because I knew my rights. And then two, when he started saying I was a cokehead and doing stuff like that, I'm like, bro, I don't even look like I do. I look like I do coke. And then I started getting combative with him because I'm like, you are now disrespecting me. And I've done everything. I've been completely complying with you, even though I've already informed you this is an illegal search. I still got out the car. I'm like, yo, I'll just let you know, anything you find in here that you found under a legal search, so you can't arrest me for it. But I'll get out the car. And I got out the car and I sat down. And they found nothing. And they still were being disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. You got out the car and you sat down. But I feel like there's a lot of black people who they're not like that. But even they're in the car and they're arguing with the cop.
But I will sit down.
Fuck that. But and when the cop has to get them out the car, they're struggling for them to put the cuffs on them and stuff.
No,
and
but that's what I'm saying.
Even when they got out of the car, don't let it get to that point.
No, it got to the point where once we were out of the car, he's like, is this your coke? So I'm like, bro, are you fucking stupid? And I'm cussing at him and I'm saying everything under the book because I understand in my right. And I'm even saying that, understanding that he might arrest me because I'm talking to him like this. But I'm saying like, yo, it's within my right to say, are you fucking stupid? Like this is completely in my right. And to ask people that are not trained in this situation, not trained in de-escalation, not trained in how to keep their emotions on lock, to all of a sudden keep their emotions on lock. Right. It'll be better to ask the person that has the authority that has been trained to be like, look, even if they are upset, you have to you let them call you a bitch.
person-
Let
the-
them call
the
you
person-
all.
My dad,
let them call
my
you
dad
out their
taught
name.
me that the
Should be
police and the
should be.
government are not on your side.
Yes,
and
they're
they
not.
never will be on your side.
They're not.
So I don't expect
I'm not too
when
sure
a
if I
when a
believe
cop
that's the-
when a cop pulls up on me, I don't expect anything from them. I am just thinking to myself, how can I make this go by smoothly? Because I know that some of these motherfuckers are scared and they see us like pit bulls or something.
Look,
So it's
But
like
that's my problem. You shouldn't see me as a pit bull.
no.
And that's
No,
why
I don't care if you see me as a pit bull
I
because I
do.
know you have to deal with other black people who are actually
And
like
that's what I
that.
say.
But that's what I'm saying.
I
And that's
understand that you have to deal with some violent. Can I speak for a little bit? I understand that there's some black people who are violent, and you have to deal with them sometimes. I just want to make it clear to you that I am not part of that percentage of the population.
So we hear you on that. But the point,
And
the problem is not where he comes in and you're like, oh, well, let me be nice. The problem is the fact that he already,
I'm
get
not
that.
saying be nice. I'm saying just
Be respectful.
de-escalate it.
I know, but-
just treat him like you would any other
But that's what
person
I'm
in
saying.
that
But-
situation.
But that's what I'm saying.
But he's
that
a
is
cop,
not- but-
so he has a little bit more authority than a regular person.
But that's what I'm saying. Not only does he have more authority, he has more responsibility. It is his job to de-escalate this. I don't go into a hospital.
It's your job as well, though.
But no. I
Because
don't
if
go
you're
into a hospital.
if he's giving you orders and you're ignoring them, you're escalating the situation. If he's asking you to get out the car, you're saying no, you're escalating the
Okay, but
situation.
we're putting hypotheticals. We're putting
if
hypotheticals.
If he
on
has
that.
probable cause and you're acting crazy and you start
But this-
punching
this
on
is
him,
a hypothetical.
he
The
has.
responsibility.
This is a hypothetical,
May also
though.
be yours, but the
It's on both of you.
expectation for the expectation for you to be equally equally mobile in that situation is unrealistic.
It's unrealistic.
It's just
He
really,
is the
like,
person
yeah,
that is
both
trained in
contribute
this.
to it.
We don't practice how to get pulled over. We don't
But-
practice how to.
Thank you.
We don't
But if
practice
you
how
hear
to.
all the time that people are being killed by police,
That is-
okay,
mhm.
it's like, why not hedge your bets and make it to where you know that, okay, I'm not going to even give him an excuse to shoot me, okay?
I'm
It's
here.
only me and him out here right
hear
now.
you, bro. I feel
I'm
like,
not going to
no, bro,
turn it up.
I hear you,
I'm
and I
going
feel
to
like
turn it down.
I feel you.
I mean,
I feel you.
sure,
Hold on.
but
Hold
none
on.
of
Because
that's
I feel
true.
like I don't.
I'm not revolutionary right now when
No,
he's
no.
trying to put the cuffs on.
I feel
cuffs
you.
on.
I feel you, and I feel like you feel
Let's
like.
go to jail and
No,
so
no,
my
no.
lawyer can deal with
I
you.
feel you, and I hear you, and I feel like you're saying the same thing because you feel like you're not being heard. I hear what you're saying because I get you. You feel like I should just be more calm and let the cop do his thing.
Yes.
I know. But what I'm saying is that is not his job to just go and whoever I feel like putting in jail, I can do whatever. So this is the same thing. If a woman is being molested by Harvey Weinstein, we're telling her, hey, look, just let him do his thing. We may or may not take care of it later. And if we don't, this dude's about to do this to a whole bunch of other people.
That's not what I'm saying.
But no, that's not what you're saying. But this is the same
That's not
analogy
what I'm saying.
of we're just gonna let him do what he wants until for some that's my point.
No, I'm saying that
It'll help your chance.
if
I know what you're saying.
dealing
It'll
with a
help your
cop,
chances
you
to
don't
get out a
know-
lot. I know.
You don't know which cop you're dealing with.
I know. I'm gonna hear you.
You do
But
not
I
know.
We know. But that's what I'm saying. It's the point of it's not my job. It is not my job, even though it may help my chances. Right? It is not my job to go in there and de-escalate the situation.
Thank you.
So it's like if I go into a hospital and I say, hey, I got stomach pains, and they're like, all right, we're going to operate on you. It is not my job to put myself under anesthesia. It is not my job to cut myself open. It's not my job to
But
do the
if
operation.
if you got shot and you're on your way to the doctor, it would help the situation for you not to drink a bunch of alcohol before you got there.
But that's not the point.
It would help the
That's not
situation
same.
for you not to
It
take
is, but
heroin
that's a
before you got
totally
there.
But that's not. But that's not.
But
the-
that's what I'm saying about the whole
different.
analogy.
Okay.
It's
No,
like,
okay. We got this. No. We got
if
this.
you're dealing with a cop,
Okay.
you
Okay,
don't
No,
know.
I got. So this, at the
wait,
same,
wait,
no,
wait,
the
wait,
same,
wait,
the
wait,
same,
wait,
the same
wait,
analogy.
guys,
The same analogy.
guys,
I got you.
I've literally heard you guys talk for like 5 minutes. You guys are going back and forth on this. Literally, no one is saying that to talk about just the violent situation. So if you remove context from what we're talking about and simplify the situation, then yes,
We
you
gotta
can
wrap
say
it up, too. We gotta wrap it up.
individuals need to do things to protect themselves.
Yes.
Individually.
Yes.
But that's we're
That's
not.
all I'm saying.
But that's
That's all I'm saying right there.
Okay,
It'll
but the
be-
reason why we keep going through this loop of us saying this is the context, and then you saying, well, this is all I'm saying, is because especially right now, like we're talking about like people putting more attention on white people, saying things like your complacency is adding into the thing. What we also see is that, and this isn't just you, but you see other, especially when you see white people do this, when you have a status quo of we are talking about the systemic issues of the cops, and then you change the conversation to
An individual event.
To an individual event removed from the context of what we're saying. What we're saying is those two things are they're similar in the fact that we're talking about
Getting
pulled
over.
or
I
something
was
like
never
that.
comparing the two. I said that
No, we're not
some
saying
people
Right.
are,
And I'm not even saying, and
We're
I'm
not
even
saying that. We're
you're-
not saying
I'm
that.
not even saying that you're comparing.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm saying, and this is why I'm saying, this is why we're getting into the loop of you say, here's the context removed from this, and I'm saying, okay, I hear that, but what I see is a pattern of people removing the context.
And still,
and
it
a
still
pattern
happened.
of people of a pattern of this of we start talking about the systemic issues, and then the conversation moves into the
A one
individual
isolated event.
one-off thing, and I'm like, okay, so now we're talking about a one-off thing when we were talking about the systemic problem in police departments.
And that's
And
what
those are
I'm saying.
separate
That's why
issues.
we're saying
And
we
that's
hear you.
why-
My
that's
theory
why I said
was
I
that
hear you, but I
the
come back to
percentage
that.
is hard to stop that percentage of people from getting into the police force. And I believe that there probably will always be that percentage of people, and I said that earlier, in the police force.
Okay.
So,
So from
if
not
you're
agree with
rolling the dice every time,
So that
I
I
do
don't
not agree
that I
with
don't
that.
Why
agree with.
not?
I believe we can. I believe we
don't-
can wean them out.
I don't think that over time they're naturally being weaned out by the process of society frowning upon that and
think we
social
can speed that up.
media
Yeah,
being
exactly.
there.
You're absolutely right. So
So
what we're
it's
asking
naturally
for,
going down. So all I'm saying is, while it's going down, why not, help that and don't turn things up
But-
on them every time you get pulled over.
But like
or
I said, I
something.
feel like for what you're speaking for is
Don't become the revolutionary every time you
No,
get
but
stopped
that's
for,
what I'm saying. I'm saying
for a traffic
I
ticket.
feel like you're talking about even then are
You're
still
upping the chances that when you do meet the bad cop, he's going to be activated by your
hear you.
behavior.
I hear you, but
I
what
agree
we're
with
saying,
that.
but again, like you're saying, you're taking it to if you get arrested on one isolated event to stop this, not on just an isolated event, but on a national, global scale. It's not up to us. It's not up to us being compliant. It's not up to us
I think
being.
it is,
Hold
though.
on.
I think you
Hold
have
on,
more
bro.
effect than
Hold
you
on,
think
hold
you
on.
have.
Even then, but it's not up to us. It is not our job on a global scale, unless we're willing to sit there and argue with the police to stop the police.
I don't
It
think
is
that
up
that's
to
the
the
time to
police.
do it.
Hold on. It is up to the police department and the government to reform what they're doing. Besides just being shamed by public opinion.
I think that's the only way they do things.
Hold on.
Is by public opinion.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. So besides public opinion being shamed by public opinion and all that other shit, they need to do active things to reform their police force on how they deal and they treat people of color when they approach them in these situations, how they're seen, how they're talked to, how they're like I've been respected by cops that have pulled me over for a very valid reason. And we've had wonderful conversation and they've let me.
And that's
let me
all
go.
I'm saying,
But
dude.
no. I've also
What you just
Hold on,
described is all I'm saying,
And then
dude.
I've also described being pulled over, being compliant, and still being treated like an asshole. So in those cases, I can't always just bend over and let them do what they want to
Right.
do.
Also, and
so
you're-
I
They're
need
po-
to,
they're a
plus
cop
you-
and they
plus
have
you-
authority in the
even if
situation.
they have authority,
They have a gun.
Even if they have a gun.
To tease this out, but you
I have a
also
family.
You also are
Even if I have a
subtly
family?
saying- but you
Even
also
if I
are
have a
I have to
family.
get back to my
I
wife
feel
and
like-
kids.
I feel that, but I don't want my.
You are saying more than
You have to
that,
pick
it's
what
not
hill
that.
you're gonna die
It's
on.
not
Okay.
true.
You
It's
can't
not
die
true.
on every
Hold on,
hill.
Rob, what
It's
you saying?
not true that it's not true that that's all you're saying, and this is teased out by the fact that you said that you feel like it is more difficult. I would assume that you think it is more difficult for the police department to get rid of the racist cops that they have who have these biases than I think they do, and because of that, I think that tends to.
I think
lead
it'll
you
be
more down the
easier,
path of
yeah.
saying, oh well, here's this police department that's harder to change, so change yourself.
Exactly.
I
feel like if
that's
we
not what
were-
I'm saying.
And
I don't think
would
that
put
I
more
don't know.
attention
I
to
don't know
that
how
to
easy
change
or
the police
difficult it
department.
is for the police department to weed those people out. I don't really care about like how difficult or easy it is. I'm
Fair enough,
saying
but I do.
based
That's
upon
what-
what
go-
my
go what you're saying.
behavior is, based upon things I can do to help the situation be better. That's all I can affect.
I
I
feel
can't in the moment change him.
I feel
I'm
it.
not trying to.
But my thing, okay. I
My
feel you.
goal is to get home.
That's
it.
In my case,
My goal is not to enact revolution when he's trying to put handcuffs on
and
me.
my
I
thing
guess
is,
I'm not so pessimistic on the revolutionary changes that I might be.
no. This no.
But
That,
I
I'm not.
wanna
No,
take
because
my
we're not gonna do that.
I'm saying there's
because-
a time for
no,
everything.
We're not gonna do that because, like you said, there is a time for everything. There's a time and place for me. But my thing is not. I refuse to put the burden of having a safe interaction and a calm interaction between police and civilians on the civilian, because that is not your job. When people come into my shop, it is not their job for them to tell me about weed. They can tell me what kind of weed they want, how they want to feel. They can tell. It is not their job for them to describe THC the percentage, anything like that to me. It is my job to describe the effects of the marijuana to them. So therefore, if somebody comes into me and they asking me questions and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing or I'm acting improperly, I need to be fired, or they wouldn't have hired me in the first place. So for police, we need that same type of what's the word I'm looking for? Scrutiny when you're looking for police officers that they're looking for when you get barbers. So for me, I'm not gonna burden the civilian, even though I do want the civilian to act accordingly and respectfully.
That's all I'm saying.
I know, I feel you, and
That's it.
I never disagree with you. I never disagree with you, bro. I get you.
That's all I'm saying.
As much as I do feel like you need to act respectfully to whatever you need to do, especially if the officer is acting respectful to you. I am not putting that burden on you to de-escalate the situation, because I have trained my officer, or I should have trained my officer to be the one to de-escalate this situation, or use some other. If it does get to that point, use some other means of restraint or stopping power other than his pistol. That is my fault as a police chief, police captain, police commissioner, for not giving the right training or resource, whatever the excuse is, which is not valid, because these people are carrying guns, because these people have the license to kill, and they don't have the right to kill you. They have the right to defend themselves. So for me, it's never, even though I would like to ask for all Americans to try your best to just kind of get home safe, at the same time, the burden of de-escalating the situation is on the police.
I feel like even though I would want the cop to be level-headed, in my mind, there's a percentage of them who are bad and evil and want chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to act accordingly to that knowledge.
But that's the
and
same.
Actually be compliant, because I know that there's a percentage of them who probably want to just fucking kill me. So
then
I'm
that's
going
the
to
same-
make sure
Mhm.
that I manipulate the situation into me getting home safe.
So how come we can't ask that same type of manipulation from police? I understand that you deal with niggas that
some
just,
of them
hold on.
are,
I
but
d-
if you're
hold on,
bucking
hold on,
them
hold on,
and
hold on, hold on.
you talk the whole time, I can't say nothing.
No, you just
Okay.
you just talked
Go
right
ahead.
now.
Go ahead.
You just said what you
Go
did.
Go ahead.
Did you not?
I
You-
get like 3 sentences.
No,
out.
you just said if you're a police officer and you're dealing with people that are aggressive all day, or if you're a person you're dealing with aggressive police all day, that's how you feel. So how come we can't have that same thing for the police, where it's like, look, you're dealing with aggressive niggas all day. Some of them are in different states, but when you get to me, I don't need that aggression. You should be de-escalating this situation, even if it's
should and what's actually happening
Mhm.
are two different things.
Mhm.
And what I'm saying is, in the real world,
Yeah.
we're noticing that people are being murdered.
Yeah.
So that's the world you have to live
But
in.
that's what I'm saying.
The world that's
Nah, I
things
feel
are
like
actually
that's.
Hold on.
happening.
Hold on.
I can't
But
say-
the
No,
revolutionary,
I want
the
Nick to finish.
revolutionary world
I can't
is
say the
no
doctor-
less tangible. The revolutionary world, the world of people dying in the streets for the wrong reasons and the right reasons, is no less tangible than the other world. And that's for me. It's that subtle difference. It's the if you are exclusively talking
really have
about
to piss
how the individual can survive and get home. Sure, I'm there with you. I'm 100%.
I agree with you,
All
bro.
I'm saying.
I know we
100%
agree with
signed.
you.
But it
Nobody's
seems to
disagreeing
me
you on that part.
But it seems to me like your language then takes it a small step further, and that's where I
Saying the burden
I'm not
of
too
getting
sure
home
that
is on him.
That's
that
not
is
what I'm
that
saying.
all
I'm
you're
not
saying.
saying that the burden of getting home is on the person. I'm saying it's on both people. It's on the cop and
Okay,
the
but
person.
okay, I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this.
Both of you
I'm saying okay. So now that you're saying, scoot in a little bit more too.
stupid and he escalated the situation, don't go with him and escalate it more.
But that's what I'm saying. From your language before, it seemed like you were saying the burden of de-escalating the situation, even no matter what, is on the person because he has a gun. And that's what it seemed like.
If you want to hedge your bets
Yeah.
and make the likelihood that you get home higher, then there's a certain behavior that you should have.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying.
Compliance.
I know.
That's it.
That's what we're saying. But
I'm not saying anything other than that.
I know, but what we're saying is we're not saying anything other than what you're saying. We agree with that part.
You guys were escalating it to other cases.
No, not
People
even other
got shot
cases.
in the back
No,
and
we're not
stuff,
talking. No,
and
we're
old
not.
boy
We're talking
No,
about.
no, no, that's just it.
No,
That's-
we're
that's what I'm
literally-
saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's-
We're not
that's-
escalating.
We're not even getting to
That's
that.
wrong.
But it's
That's-
not
that's
escalating.
cut and dry
But
wrong.
it's not me escalating or even changing the subject.
not.
If that's what we started
not.
off talking
No,
about.
no. Not even
we
that.
started off talking about unarmed people getting shot
We
in the
did,
streets.
but I'm talking about.
Then moved into that.
But we did, but I'm talking about just where we're at right now. We're talking about an isolated event, just one random black guy, one random cop that are in talk, right? Most of the time, depending on who the cop is, the anger comes from not the passenger, but the police officer. The thing that takes it past a certain point comes from the police officer, because at any point, like for literally, the cop is the one that's like, get out the car. The cop is the one that's going to be like, you know what? This is the time where I need to turn up. Even if you're angry, because I've seen cops deal with angry people, deal with passionate people. I've seen it done the right way, where cops have deal with people that just got into a fight, didn't arrest nobody, grabbed one dude and was like, let me talk to you. Let me de-escalate the situation. You know, I get you're turned up right now. I get you're mad. I know you want to punch somebody. Let me talk to you right now. Let me speak to you. So that's what I'm saying. That needs to be what is taught to our police force. Because right now what we teach our black children, which I feel like is so sad, that we have to teach them to bite their tongue, not be like I said, as our generation, we were taught, don't talk, don't say nothing. As men shouldn't talk that much. So now in the new generation, what we're teaching them is, if you feel like this person has more power than you, just shut up. You know, just give them that power. Instead of saying, hey, you do have a voice. You can make your concerns known. You can talk to them. You can disagree with these people. Teaching them how to do it calmly and doing it in a nice manner. But I do feel like it's wrong.
It's not the time to evolve into
I feel you.
revolutionary.
I feel you, but I do feel like it's wrong.
Know that you may pay the ultimate.
I
cost
do.
for it.
I do feel like I do.
Or you're gambling and know that you're
Know
going
that
to pay.
that-
Exactly.
yeah, know that it's
That's
a
what I'm saying.
gamble
I
for
do.
it.
I do feel
All
like
I'm saying is know what you're getting.
exactly. So I do feel like just letting them. I feel like we need to do our utmost right now, as black people, to get the police in a place where they cannot just talk or do whatever they want to us anyway. And we have to respond by being respectful. You are absolutely right. Mm-hmm. We have to respond by being cordial and keeping them calm and in a certain situation and cool and compliant. But the burden of actually de-escalating this, I understand what you're saying, bro. If you want to make it home, yeah, you got to be calm. But you got to understand, some of these people are being frustrated because they're being harassed. They are being profiled. So they're not being combative. They're being frustrated. And that frustration is what's being mistook for aggression, violence, anger. So it's like, look, bro, I'm upset because this is the 6th, 7th time I've been pulled over this week. What the fuck?
Right.
And if I say what the fuck to you and you tell me to get out the car because you don't like the fact that you were cussed at, you know, or you're like, keep your voice down, keep your voice down. First of all, I don't have to keep my voice down, sir. And you telling me to keep my voice down because you trying to check me is only escalating the situation. A better way to say it is, hey, look, I understand. Because we're taught this. Like, the fact that in the service world, you're taught how to de-escalate situations. Hey, look, I understand you're upset. I understand how this can frustrate you. Let me see what I can do to help you out. But this is this is the only thing that I can do. Oh, I still don't give a fuck. That's not enough. I understand. I apologize. If you want, I can give you this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or you can take your business somewhere else. So we're taught how to de-escalate shit in the service realm. Then we can go in the back and be like, yo, fuck this person. You being a little bitch, da-da-da-da-da in the back. But in reality, we have to teach our police how to be more compassionate, especially when they're dealing with people of other races. Because you cannot come into that situation. I understand you're dressing up to go into slightly a war zone a little bit. But not everybody you're meeting is an insurgent. Not everybody you're meeting is your enemy. So you can't come with that energy on everybody you pulled over. Honestly, if some cops would pull people over with a smile, hey, look, you're going a little fast back there. Really? Yeah, man, I clocked you at like 65. It's not necessarily what you say.
Wow, you did.
But you're escalating it to an extreme.
But they might hear stories about the extremes.
And we hear stories about the extremes as well. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That's what fuels us being so upset.
And that's why they approach the door in a certain manner.
But they can't. So when you approach
sometimes,
but no,
or it's racism.
So that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. It's not always you're scared and you approaching my. That's what I'm saying. So now
not hedge the bet in your favor.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. Even if you approach the car with your gun on your hip, it's already out of my favor. There's nothing I can say to you.
But you could help the situation.
Even if I'm
coming towards you
with the gun in his hand, I can be like, look,
don't be fidgety in the car.
Even I've done this.
Sit there and relax.
I've done that. I'm like, look, when cops pull me over, I'll stick my hand out the window or I'll put my hands on the steering wheel. I'll help the situation, and I'll still see a cop sit there. When I got pulled over on the way to Vegas, the cop sat there with the hand on his gun, and we're joking and laughing. And I'm like, There's another time I got pulled over on my bike, and dude sitting there with the hand on the gun. I asked him, like, look, bro, you can see my hands. Can you just do me a favor and take your hand off your gun because it'll make me feel better? He told me no. And I'm like, bro, you can see my hands. I took my knife out of my holster and put it on the bike for you. You can see my knife. You can see I don't have any guns on me because my pants you can see my wallet sticking out of my pants, right? You can see everything. Can you just take your hand off your gun so I can feel safe, bro? No. So I'm like, in that situation, when I'm asking you to de-escalate a situation, any cop in that situation should have been like, you know what, you're absolutely right. Let me do this for your safety. But the fact, but that's what I'm saying. You're taking this to the extreme because I can do the same thing of saying, hey, can you just take your hand off your gun? Pow! No, you made me scared. You know, it's just one of those things where you just made me.
He is a cop. You might be an enemy. You might be. He might be,
but we can't.
He's rolling the dice as well.
But that's what I'm saying. He is trained. He is trained to. If you're gonna roll these dice, you need to treat it this way. I'm not. So if we're both gonna take it to the extreme, you may kill me. I may kill you.
But you're trained as well because you see.
I'm on
social media. You know what the cops are on. You know that they trying to kill him.
But that's what I'm saying.
So
it's not
escalating the situation.
But I'm not getting paid.
You know what the outcome has been because you've seen on social media that niggas been getting
But
killed.
I'm not getting paid to stay alive. They're getting paid to shoot niggas and then get acquitted.
Long story short, power to the people.
I love you, bro.
Fight the revolution.
I know. We always got to fight. I know. We always got to hug.
Long story short, I want these white people doing more out here. If you know me and you're white, do more.
Do more.
Do more.
Do more.
It's coming from your heart.